Kevin with some ice to work with. Bayaranta on his back. Pass across, shot, score! Uso puts the Gauchos in front. Curling with the puck now for Ockfish. Shot through traffic. He scores! You can feel it building. Picciotto across for Shin. Shot, glove save by Nora Pez.
Oh, that's an incredible save from Penn.
Uso throws the front save. Rebound, score! Justin Goleta! He a guy, a thumping hit. He's skating. Duncan Cadito, tip, save, rebound, score! Kevin Mooney gives the Gauchos the overtime win. Nearly 18 hours removed from ice hockey at UCSB, working overtime. No falling back on the day that time fell back as the Gauchos rallied from a 2-1 second period deficit to stop a 4-game home losing streak with their first win on the Ice in Paradise sheet in the ACHA era, knocking off today's opponent, the Santa Clara Broncos. Up next, Game 2, as the Gauchos look to finish off this weekend series in style. Well, hi again, everybody. Eric Evelhoch with Kyle Nicolas here on the Ice Hockey at UCSB Broadcast Network. So happy to be bringing you this contest from the Snyder Rink at Ice in Paradise. Kyle, the 3-2 overtime victory for the Gauchos, so important for this team, not only in snapping the 4-game losing streak, but really in building up confidence in a squad that had seen it flag somewhat despite losing to some top quality Pac-8 competition.
And getting that victory last night, especially under such dramatic circumstances, can only help the team in, as you say, building the confidence going forward. It appeared as though for a few of those games that they were unfortunately on the losing end of. They were playing well, they just couldn't quite seem to put together the effort that they needed in order to come out with both the points in those games. But last night, as you said, needing to work overtime in order to do it, but holding strong, having the mental resolve, and coming out with the big victory that was very much deserved in the way that they dominated and flat out controlled the game for large portions yesterday evening.
It was perhaps the most gritty game that the Gauchos have had to play this season because the opponent, Santa Clara, focused so heavily on taking away that slot area, getting sticks in the passing lane, making life difficult in general in the offensive end for the Gauchos. Even though UCSB had the majority of the attack zone time, it was never easy for the hosts.
It was never easy for UCSB, and that is largely due to the fact that Santa Clara played a very organized and structurally sound defensive game, but in no small part leaving out the goaltending performance of starting goaltender Frankie Nix. Nix, who was credited, I believe, with 30 saves yesterday evening. If you were up watching this game or listening to it, it sounded like it was far more than that. He was absolutely sensational last night.
And speaking with Santa Clara head coach Brian Gray before the game, I asked him, does anything surprise you anymore seeing what Nix can do? Well, we mentioned yesterday a game he played 2 seasons ago during a trip to Colorado against the University of Northern Colorado. 63 saves in that game despite an 8-1 loss. He made 35 saves in the first period of that game, and he had a similar sort of lockdown night last night for Santa Clara. It took 3 greasy goals for the Gauchos to get the win.
The Gauchos, normally a good, very skilled offensive team, very capable of playing a high skill, smooth passing, a lot of fancy goals offense. That did not happen yesterday, and we noticed several times UCSB really struggling to work the puck into their favorite spot, right into the low slot, as we've come to know it, Justin Goltzer's office, right down on top of the goal crease. The Gauchos not having a whole lot of success moving it there, unless it got there off of a rebound off of Nix, and that seemed to really be the only way the Gauchos could find any success, and I'd be willing to bet that's going to be the case here this evening as well. Santa Clara going to be coming out hard, going to be coming out strong, redoubling their efforts to their defense and making sure they support their goaltender, getting those pucks away from him. No second chances for UCSB in this game.
And talking about the need for the nose for the net, the gritty style, it's not to say there wasn't a ton of superior skill shown by the Gauchos, and the new line combination of Cooper Spears between Kevin and Kyle Mooney. Kyle, for minutes at a time, seemed to take over the game last night, holding the puck in the Santa Clara zone and generating numerous opportunities, even if unable to get them to and through Knicks.
For ice hockey at UCSB, those shifts are going to tire out their opponent a lot. Those shifts where you're defending are the ones that just drain your stamina and your energy, sap it out of your legs, and it's really hard to get it back after those long shifts as well. UCSB had several of them. It seemed like 3 or 4 every period where they flat out dominated Santa Clara, just holding it into the zone. Good passing, good cycling, moving the puck into good areas, but Santa Clara holding strong, not letting anything into super dangerous spots until UCSB forced to settle for the shot, maybe not as nice as they would normally be used to. But Knicks equal to the task on almost all of them. It was just when the UCSB was able to get those rebounds that they were able to put them behind them. So it'll be interesting to see today how those shifts and that long and hard-fought game yesterday, along with the travel yesterday, are going to impact Santa Clara here this afternoon when they did have to deal with so much defending yesterday.
And they can expect to see the 15, 22, 33 line a lot this evening as they've been moved up to the first line through no fault of their own. Mitchell Poliuso, Jesper Damgaard, and Justin Goldzer knocked down to the 2 spot, although before the game, in speaking with the Gaucho coaching staff, assistant Steve Hines with a wry smile almost said, 1 line, 2 line, we roll 4 lines. There's no need for the designation.
Well, in the modern game, it's essentially you have to have 4 lines to dominate. If you look at the most recent Stanley Cup champions, even their 4th lines are lines that coaches can throw over the boards and be an offensive threat every time they step out there. I mean, the big story for the Pittsburgh Penguins, the most recent one, was their 3rd line, the Benino, Hagelin, and Phil Kessel line. Played arguably the best hockey of the entire playoffs, and yet they were not even in the top half of the forward unit for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
The HBK line breaking San Jose's hearts in their first trip to the Stanley Cup final. Santa Clara, conversely, is going to switch things up a little bit as their starting line, which will send over the boards, will feature Cameron Burke in the middle after he played much of last night on defense. Brendan Boardingham, who scored one of the 2 power play goals, Burke getting the other for Santa Clara last night, will be on his wing, as will Michael Lavarado. On defense, Cameron Lafleur and Carl Grasick will look to get the start. So the Broncos juggling up the position of the players on the lines.
And that may be trying to deal with a little bit of the forward speed that the Gauchos have, as well as maybe trying to use the speed that they do have in order to generate a few more chances off the counterattack. That was last night where we noticed that Santa Clara was at their absolute best when they were catching the Gaucho defense a little bit flat-footed, sending pucks through the neutral zone and just trying to bear down hard on Nora Penn and net in order to generate a chance from in tight, because when it came to playing the cycle game, UCSB's defense last night was borderline perfect. They really did not allow a whole lot in the way of chances off of the cycle for the Broncos.
Santa Clara only getting 21 shots on net last night. Most of those, as you mentioned, Kyle, coming off of transition. And much of their offense, matter of fact, all of the goals they put on the board came during a 5-on-3 power play during that second period of play.
And both of those were also, once again, off the rush. They came off immediate zone entries where Santa Clara came in hot over the blue line and just generated a chance quickly. I believe one of them was also a rebound goal. The other one came, man streaking right down into the slot. Just a quick wrister right past Nora Penn over her glove, sorry.
And speaking about second period penalties, we would be remiss if we don't mention what happened with Cooper Spears engaging with Carl Grasick late in that second period. Spears ultimately was given a 5-minute major for clipping, as well as a game misconduct for hitting the player low. Speaking with the coaching staff after the game, the joke almost was, That's a football penalty.
I didn't even realize necessarily that was a hockey penalty at this one. You know, you don't see anything like that happen or called very often, so hopefully something like that doesn't happen again here this evening, because that was a very pivotal moment for the Gauchos, considering that that's what was the second line last night was really visibly feeling it, the way they were moving the puck around in the offensive zone, suddenly losing their center on that line, Cooper Spears, seemed to kind of bring them back down for just a little bit, even though it ultimately was the Moonies that put together the game-winning goal.
The Gauchos so good about answering your 3 keys for the game, so let's take a look at our center points of analysis for this evening's game, brought to you by Center Ice Santa Barbara, a brand new hockey and figure skating retail showroom located in Goleta, just minutes from the Ice in Paradise facility. It is the premier destination in Central California to find your hockey and figure skating equipment and apparel. It's 7127 Hollister Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call them at 805-770-7970 or visit on the web. Center Ice, SB, center spelled the Canadian way, R-E.
So the first key for tonight's game is going to be the Gauchos need to reset mentally in this one. Coming off that big win last night, big drama, hard fought, snapping that losing skid, there was a huge sense of relief. When you have these back-to-backs and you win the first leg of it, it's really easy to grow complacent as a team and grow sort of overconfident mentally when your opponent, who lost that game in that dramatic fashion, is only going to be even more motivated to come out hard, come out strong, establish, and get the second one away from them, knowing how the first one got away. So reset the mentality, take nothing for granted last night. This is an entirely new game. Reset mentally and come out strong.
And by resetting, what can they do to perhaps generate more offensively?
More offensively, I was going to say that's going to be my third spot, or my third key to the game right now.
It ties in with both.
I guess it does tie in with both of them. Key number 2 is going to be that the Gauchos need to shoot the puck and crash the net. All 3 of their goals last night came off of a rebound. So for UCSB, cut down a little bit on the fancy, go with very simple, hard-nosed hockey. This isn't something that the team normally likes to play. They like to play the fancy passing and slip the puck into maybe the low slot in order to generate maybe a tap-in goal. This time, they're not necessarily going to have that luxury. Just take things down, back to basics, shoot the puck hard, go for a rebound, and crash the front of the net as the forwards. It's going to be a battle to get there, but we did see the 3 times the Gauchos were able to get there and get on the rebound, they were able to score yesterday.
And key 3.
Key 3 is going to be connect the passes. Last night, the Gauchos appeared to be struggling a little bit with getting the puck to go tape to tape consistently, missing a few passes on the outlet, missing a few passes in the offensive zone, and full credit to the way that Santa Clara played defensively to break up as many of those passes as they possibly could. But for UCSB, shorten up some of those passes a little bit and just sort of make sure that you can get it onto your teammate's stick and maintain control of the game. So as long as UCSB can continue to get those pucks from tape to tape, keep those connections going, I think they'll actually fare a lot better tonight.
Our 3 keys to the game, the center points of analysis, brought to you by Center Ice Santa Barbara, 7127 Hollister Avenue, Suite 8. On the web at Center Ice SB, center spelled at C-E-N-T-R-E. We pause for the national anthem. Ice hockey at UCSB looking to get back to 500 since the initial puck drop of the season, 3-4-0 on the 2016-17 slate. Their opponents, Santa Clara, 2-2-2, having suffered now back-to-back demoralizing overtime defeats.
And if you think that's not going to be motivation for this team to come out even harder and finally get over the hump and get that win here tonight, you would be sorely mistaken. So for the Gauchos, look out for a fast start early from their opponents, especially, as I mentioned, considering the way the game ended yesterday. They are really going to be looking to come out for a big one here tonight.
Cooper Spears between Kevin and Kyle Mooney, the starting forward line for the Gauchos, with Dimitri Piagai and Andrew Vieira drawing the assignment on the back end. In front of goaltender Nora Penn for the Broncos. Cameron Burke in the middle with Brendan Boardingham and Michael Laverato on his wings. Defensemen Cameron Lafleur and Carl Grasick in front of goalie Frankie Nix. As the Gauchos come out immediately looking to attack with the top line, Grasick will send it to the far side boards, and a big step-up hit by Piagai enables the turnover to Cooper Spears. Laverato steps up on him. Remember, in the early goings, we saw Santa Clara last night come with a 2, even 3 high forecheck at times, looking to try and hem in the Gauchos. We'll see how they'll be able to handle that pressure in the early goings tonight.
Looks like it's a pretty similar forecheck here this evening.
Piagai ahead for Kyle Mooney, drops it back for Kevin. Overtime game-winning hero last night to the slot. Shot save made by Nix. Rebound cleared away by Lafleur. Vieira ahead for Kyle as Santa Clara gets a partial line change. Kyle around the net, goes for the wraparound. Nix gets the skate to the far post and keeps it out. Along the near side boards, a steal by Vieira. Tries to get it to the high slot, just flutters through Cooper Spears. Grasick will send it along the far side boards, the length of the sheet, and it goes for an icing.
So good start for the Gauchos, strong first shift, a couple chances, and a couple good saves required from Nix early. Fortunately for Santa Clara, he is up to the task, but the top line appears to be picking up right where they left off. Let's see where this second line picks up, because this line as well may have been equally as dominant on a number of their shifts.
The center, Poliuso, held off the score sheet for the first time this season in the game last night. Golter had a nice look off the faceoff. Now the battle in neutral territory as Damgard has it taken away by Captain Akshay Agarkar and sent into the Gaucho end. Played along the boards, and Goltzer will come ahead with it. Goltzer had it taken away at the line by Colin Curran. Slisenko has to hold up as the Gauchos were in an offside position. Second try, Gino able to angle it into the near side corner. Philip Park plays it behind the net. He logged a ton of ice time last night for Santa Clara on defense. Poliuso along the near side boards, sends it to the front. Skitters wide. Goltzer for Damgard behind the net. Jesper can't connect with anybody in the slot as Park will skate it out up the near side boards, but turns it over in neutral ice. Poliuso, the back pass for Damgard. Returns it from Poliuso. Save made by Nix. A whistle and a stoppage in play. The puck was sitting in front of Nix.
And we got a hooking penalty.
Penalty coming up here. Perhaps a power play opportunity for the Gauchos as skating to the box is Andrew Seitz. 17:44 to go in the first period. Gauchos to the power play.
And the neutral zone turnovers are things that will give coaches gray hair in this sport. It's a neutral zone turnover that allows the Gauchos to come back over the blue line with speed, and it's a desperation hooking penalty in order to prevent that scoring chance for Poliuso.
Off the draw, Valois with a shot. Great job by Nix finding it through traffic with Christian Okpish, who scored a power play goal. He's scored in back-to-back games now for the Gauchos since coming back from suspension, blocking out the sun in front of him.
And he's quite good at that blocking out the sun role as well. He did score the goal off the rebound, which beat Nix over the top, bounced off the crossbar and went down, and he just reached over the goalie to tap it over the line. Pretty goal, not a pretty one, but still nonetheless something that Christian Okpish is very effective at.
Rubert stood up at the Gaucho blue line. Valois pirouettes away from the pressure from Alex Mayorkas, but Mayorkas able to work it free on the back check. Vieira for Valois. Gives for Kevin to carry in up the near wing. Back to the line. Vieira The switch far side for Kyle. Kevin for Kyle. Backdoor feed Vieira. Couldn't control it off the heel of his stick, and Cameron Lafleur able to skate it out. Stood up by Valois, crossing the blue line. Kyle carries ahead. Late to the slot. Nice drag around. Kevin hoists the backhander high over the right-hand glove of goalie Frankie Nix.
I wish my hands were even half as good as his are. I would be a much better beer league player if that was the case.
50 seconds to go in the first Gaucho power play of the game. Kyle wheeling through neutral ice, gains the line. Pass late to the slot. Spun wide by Spears. It'll be held in at the far point by Blount. Back for Spears. Feeds it backdoor for Pauliuso. Pauliuso back for Blount. Blount hesitate. Threw it in front. Blocked wide by Park. Spears angled it to the slot. Played to the line. Not out. Nice hold in by Hunter Van Duzer. 15 to go on the Gaucho power play. Park plays it around. Held in by Blount. Touched it for Pauliuso. Gives up for Spears. Back to the line. Mr. Van Duzer. Blount holds the point, but Santa Clara will survive the first Gaucho power play of the game. Behind the net, Pauliuso fights through the Park check. Held to the boards, but Goltzer there to rescue the puck. Goltzer tries to spin away from the check of John Winchester. Santa Clara able to work it ahead. Lavarado gains the red line and will play it wide of Penn. Blount back to retrieve, up the boards for Pauliuso. Drop pass out of the zone, but it's turned over for Spears. Spears, shot from distance, save, and it'll be easily cleared away by Grasic. Piagai angles it into the near side boards. Nick's out to settle it down for his defense. Grasic along the near side boards. Perez couldn't take the pass. We'll try and give it to him again. And with the defenseman waiting back at the red line, able to get it out. Piagai off the boards. Vieira didn't get beyond the man. But now back, a big hit laid by Curran. But Herlihy able to work it deeper. Once again, the Gauchos chip it back behind. Agarkar, far boards for Curran. Back for the man they call Shaq, the team president as well as captain, number 8. Unable to get the clear as Herlihy got in the way. Lafleur resets behind his own net. Puck knocked free. Nix jabs it away behind the net. Perez steps up on Vieira. Santa Clara will reverse. And Andrew Seitz gets it to the line, but no further than Piagai on the second try. Angled out by Lafleur. Now perhaps a chance to break away here by Seitz, but a nice job by Jaguar Lawrence. Coming back defensively, and he'll shoot it in behind Nix. Grasic switches to his defense partner Park. Heavy hit laid in front of the Santa Clara bench, creates the turnover. Hyman for Lawrence. Jag shot from distance into the equipment of Grasic, and he shoots it up and off the ice. 13:23 to go in a scoreless first period.
And if this was the NHL, that would have been a black and white penalty for delay of game, puck over glass in the defensive zone. But unfortunately for UCSB, this is not the National Hockey League. This is the ACHA. No such rule here. And I'm sure there's a lot of critics of that rule out there who would agree that that's a good thing. A lot of people seem to not like that rule very much.
Akpish wins the draw, tries to fight it to the front of the net, but Grasic there to retrieve. Couldn't connect with Mayorkas. Slisenko feeds for his defense partner Valois. Slisenko gets the return feed. Scored his only goal this season down at Pickwick Gardens in Burbank against UCLA. 6-3 loss in that game for the Gauchos. It's a home run pass for Mayorkas. Bouncing puck taken down from behind by Valois, and that will draw the first penalty of the game against UCSB. Valois has some issues with the call, but he'll have to sit for 2 or less.
And this is a good penalty for Valois to take as well. I believe that was Mayorkas who had broken through the defense with a full head of steam. Valois, the only one anywhere close to him. It looked like he did get a stab, and he may have gotten the puck first. But unfortunately for him, officials have been recently changing the standard on these breakaway tripping calls. And really, even if you get the puck first, if you take the man down at any point, it usually is still called a tripping penalty. So file this one away under good penalties. It did prevent a scoring chance, a very significant one for Santa Clara. But UCSB now, thanks to that one little defensive lapse, needs to kill off a penalty.
Off the draw, Winchester. Is it below the goal line for Burke? Tries to throw it cross pass to the high slot. Boarding him. Straight away, Park. Shot through traffic. Pin the pad save. Rebound. Jammed behind the net by Lavarado. Pauliuso angles it hard off the near boards, but Park holds. Switches for Winchester. Shot. Save made by Penn as she gobbles up the near face-off dot. Wrister by Brendan Boardingham.
And she got across quickly, very nicely, set herself up in perfect spot right at the top of her crease. Dropped down and absorbed that one right into the chest protector in order to prevent that one from spitting out as a rebound in front of the net. The fewer of those she gives off, the better the chance she has of keeping control of the game. So for UCSB, unfortunately not able to get that clear on that last opportunity they had. Hopefully they can improve on that just a little bit more, but a pretty good look here early on this penalty kill.
Santa Clara, 2 for 6 on the power play last night. Slapper from the line, looking for the tip play. May have got the post, rebound, score! And it's Cameron LaFleur who gives the visitors the lead.
And it's the shot off the end boards that winds up coming right back out. And a bit of an awkward bounce out to LaFleur. LaFleur just has a wide open net in order to shoot this one, and he makes no mistake on the miss. And this is an example of something UCSB is going to have to really work on, is their discipline in these areas. Now, granted, we mentioned that that was a good penalty for Valois to take, but the penalty kill has not been good for UCSB this season. That is the third power play goal on 7 opportunities in these 2 games that Santa Clara has had. Not exactly a great percentage for a weak point of this Gaucho game.
The Econ major from San Jose opens the scoring for Santa Clara, but Kyle Mooney looking to create a chance in response. Gets the return feed from Piagai. Shot through traffic, score! Don't know if Kevin got a touch on it in front, but Kyle, after perhaps realizing that Santa Clara is so used to wheeling on him on the outside, lets one go and it finds its way through traffic for a near immediate Gaucho response.
And the body language of the players on the ice are saying that Kevin did get a touch on that puck. So a deflected play of a shot that admittedly released quickly and somewhat unexpectedly. Just a quick deflection from right on top of the goal crease, and it beats Nix to the far side. Great response for the Gauchos to come back and knot the game immediately after giving up that one on the power play to go down. So we are back to even, and the Gauchos appear to still once again have full control of the game.
Just 24 seconds for the Gaucho response. The goal for Kevin, his 5th of the season. Kyle now with 3 assists. Kevin carries in, fights through the check of Dakota Vinegar, but then is blasted to the boards by Carl Grasick, and he'll take a penalty for it for boarding.
And this is a textbook boarding penalty. Grasick not realizing that Kevin had turned his numbers back to him when he fired his shoulder right into his back. It is a square hit. It is a dangerous area of the ice, a couple feet off the glass. So fortunately, we did see Kevin bounce right back up. Looks to be no worse for wear, and the Gauchos with a big opportunity here to jump back out in front and really put some screws on their opponent in this one and really ramp up the pressure.
Second power play opportunity of the evening for the Gauchos. They're 0 for 1. Kyle wins the draw for Kevin. Switches for Vieira. Vieira for Valois. Kevin, top of the far circle, gives up for Kyle. Kyle curls with it there. Akpish out in front of goalie Nix. Kyle dancing with it on his backhand. Looks to feed backdoor for Kevin. Nice read, and Park able to play it forward for the ultimate clear by Colin Curran. Minute 20 to go in the Gaucho power play. Kyle through the neutral zone, gets by the man. Kyle's shot, shoulder save made by Nix. Valois holds in with his backhand at the line, switches Vieira to the high slot. Kevin shot, hit a man in front. Puck still loose. Ogpish, save, rebound, score! Vieira down from the point, able to poke home the rebound. It was just sitting along the goal line, and the Gauchos lead it 2-1.
And you kind of wonder what Andrew Vieira is doing hanging out in front of the goal crease on this one, looking an awful lot like a pretty good defenseman by the name of Scott Niedermeyer, who always used to hang out down there on the power play. But once again, it's not a pretty goal. It's a gritty, ugly goal that Nick's got most of, but the puck slipped behind him just a little bit, and the Gauchos capitalize on their power play with another sort of greasy goal, but nonetheless, they will be happy to have the 2-1 lead.
Gauchos 1 for 2 on the power play for Vieira. It's his first of the season. He had 2 goals last year in 9 NCHA games. Blount, the puck inside his own end. Puck turned over, but Spears does well on the quick backhand to get it out to neutral ice. Cameron Burke plays it forward. He's now in a defense role, it looks like, for Santa Clara as Van Duzer plays back for Blount. Herlihy along the far side boards has it held in. Lafleur flared it across the front of the net. Penn got a touch on it to send it wide. Mayorkas behind the net. Spears on him. Mayorkas wins the puck. Van Duzer engaged with him. Puck sent to the line. Lafleur, the Bronco goal scorer, played ahead. The shot, Penn makes the save. Good look from the far face-off circle. As Mayorkas won the puck battle, and Blount goes high to hit Andrew Seitz, pinning him to the boards, and that's going to be an elbowing penalty. Second power play of the first forthcoming for the Broncos.
And this is something it appears that both teams have had a little bit of trouble adapting to. We have a new referee here this evening, and when you do get a new referee coming in, the standard is always going to change just a little bit. So the Gauchos and the Broncos both appear to really be struggling with the new standards for the different penalties that are being called. Now the Gauchos being shorthanded, I believe, for the second time, and I believe we've had a couple now as well for the Broncos. So for this one right here, I think looked to me like Coach Scott Heyer is asking why that one was called. But yes, I do agree with the call. The elbow did come up for Blount. So the Gauchos now once again needing to come up with a big penalty kill. They did well in order to capitalize on their power play to get the lead back up to 2-1, but need to hold on to it here.
Akshay Agarkar, the center, scored 4 goals 2 years ago. Backhands it in on Penn. Nora makes the save. Rebound sits there and will ultimately be cleared. Jag Lawrence doing the job as Nix, very active back in his net and outside it, playing the puck. It was one thing that assistant coach Ben Brecker noticed to me, in addition to the other litany of great things about this game. Not something that you often see at the ACHA level, a goalie being so active distributing the play from the back end.
And it's so nice to have that as well. It's like having a third defenseman back in your end.
Poliuso off the turnover. Player's helmet knocked free, throws it in front. And we'll have play stopped as John Winchester lost his lid.
And I think that is the reason for the automatic whistle here. Normally, as we said in the NHL, a little bit of a different rule there. They would let that one go, but considering these are student athletes, you definitely don't want to have any sort of a head injury happen. So good call for the referee in order to stop that one and let Winchester get off the ice with his helmet. We'll reset. Unfortunately for the Gauchos, this one is deep in Santa Clara territory.
1:11 to go in their second power play of the game. 8:23 to go here in the first period. More offense in the opening period here after we were scoreless through 20 last night. Brendan Mortingham up the far board, spins away from the Piagai hit. Switch pass, misses Boardingham. He'll curl behind the net with it. Back to the point for Grasic. Boardingham again, working with it along the far side boards. Lavarado for Boardingham once more. Gauchos extend their box here as the pass goes for Lafleur. He's got the power play tally for the Broncos. Tried to sneak one short side. Piagai got a piece of it. Boarding him. Behind the net for Lavarado. Lavarado back to the point. Grasic back for the touch. Penn sticks it aside after Lafleur got a tap to it. 15 to go on the power play, and those will be spent at 4-on-4 as reaching in and tripping Jesper Damgaard, Cameron Lafleur will take a seat.
I believe that is actually going to be
Lavarado.
Michael Lavarado. As I said, they're both around there, and this, again, a textbook tripping penalty. Looked like the stick got caught in between the skates of the Gaucho player on that one, haul him down. And for UCSB, a good penalty kill, and they do get a turnover in a good spot on the ice. It does force the penalty to be taken, maybe a little bit accidental as well on the part of the Santa Clara player, but nonetheless, the Gauchos will take it, and they will get, in 14 seconds' time, another power play of their own.
Off the draw, Aiden Rubert able to skate it out of the zone, and he'll throw it in, gaining the red line, and it looks like another penalty coming here as Rubert was given a rough ride into the boards. Interference to be the call, so forget about that potential Gaucho power play.
And this is a little bit of a touchier call as well. So as we mentioned, this is the adapting period, the period where the players are really going to be figuring out what the standards are going to be for the calls. And it appears as though I thought it was going to be Piagai sitting down, but this is going to be Kevin Mooney headed to the penalty box for interference. And it will be 4-on-3 for another 3 seconds until I believe the Gauchos get a man back. We will be 4-on-4 again for 1:49, and then it will be one more very abbreviated power play for Santa Clara. That one will be 11 seconds long.
So the face-off in the Santa Barbara end to the right of goalie Nora Penn. 19 saves and picking up her 3rd win in 4 games on the Ice in Paradise sheet this season. Off the draw, we go to 4 aside. UCSB. Spears and Kyle Mooney out there as the forwards. Kyle had his steam through the neutral zone. Throws it in front. Save made by Nix. Rebound just sitting there. And he'll come out and swallow it up. Well, you know, one of the things that, when you look at the way that both Kyle and Kevin Mooney play, you think roller hockey.
Very appropriately so, since you consider that they are currently the leaders of the clubs, or the club roller hockey team on campus as well. And when you watch the way they stick handle and tend to skate and weave through guys, makes perfect sense, really.
Kyle with 72 goals and 84 assists in 73 career games for the Gaucho roller hockey program.
Not bad numbers.
Shot from the line, Vieira save, rebound, Spears scores! Cooper there to bury the rebound, and the Gauchos go up by a pair.
And Nix is just a little disappointed with himself that he couldn't get back over to protect the post in time. Great timing by Cooper Spears to get over and just beat him to that near side post and get the shot off quickly in order to make sure that it slipped right past the blocker hand of the right-handed catching goaltender. And the Gauchos advantaged them on the 4-on-4 so far here this evening. We found that they did tend to play much better of the two teams when they were playing 4-on-4 last night. And a good response and a great start here early for ice hockey at UCSB.
Spears cleaning up the rebound of Vieira's shot. 2-point night for the defenseman for the Gauchos, and the UCSB leading goal scorer, Spears, had his 8th of the season. Spears and the Gauchos looking for more. Another 49 seconds of 4-on-4. Looking for the backdoor feed for Spears. It was cut off, and Kyle Perez will play it back for Winchester. Perez switches to the near side for Park. Park. Pass bounced. The shot shrugged away by Penn. Perez had a good look at it. Off the high glass and angled out. Won't go for an icing as John Winchester had kicked at it. Winchester feeds ahead for Burke. Burke steams up the near wing. Stopped up at the end boards. Muscled by Van Duzer. Golzer there to pick the puck free. Abbreviated power play, number 3 for Santa Clara. Although it hardly seems fair to say it, seeing as
it's already over.
They only had 7 seconds of odd man time, and now, having iced the puck, they got to play defense with 5:15 to go in the first period.
5:15 to go in the first period, and for the first time in a while, we are back to 5-on-5 hockey with the penalty boxes completely empty.
Second line out there for the Gauchos. Paliuso, Golzer, Damgard. Damgard touched for Golzer, and then is back to win the puck free and force Grasic to go behind the net with it. Lavarado. Damgard digs the puck free. Back to the line, Slisenko. Curls all the way around to the far corner. Paliuso comes up with it there. Paliuso gets help from Golzer. Back to the line, Valois. Return feed. Golzer touched for Paliuso. Damgard in the corner. Damgard curls away from the check. Chip in front. Golzer puts it off the outside of the net. Winchester plays it up the boards, and this one squirts out for Valois to retrieve in his own end. Damgard just bangs it off the far boards as UCSB looks to complete a change. Jesper into the zone. Shot deflected by Lawrence. Rebound. Damgard sends back to Slisenko at the point. Tried to clear it deeper. Agarkar back to the line. Slisenko threw it in. Touched for Lindsay. Now Park will lead the charge out of the Bronco end. Weaving to the far point. His wrister from there easily gobbled by the glove of Penn, and she holds.
And Penn has not seen a lot of rubber here in this first period, so those little fluttering pucks that go in allow her to kind of get a touch on the puck again and get some contact and make sure she stays focused, are ones that she's definitely going to appreciate as this game goes forward. It's easy to lose your concentration when your team is playing so well in the offensive zone and you don't see a whole lot of shots coming your way.
Draw 1 by the Broncos. Piagai works it around. Grasic activates to send it back behind the cage. Piagai takes the hit to move for Vieira. Now Lawrence ahead. Steaming in Barone. Barone to the front. Save, rebound, score! Greg Hyman! And the Gauchos get another by getting to the front of the net. And Knicks 4 on the board in the first period.
And we mentioned in our keys to the game, shoot and crash. That is exactly what the Gaucho depth does on this play. A great move from Barone in order to get the puck into the defensive zone, catching the defenseman for Santa Clara biting a little bit, dodges, gets it in, and gets it on net. The first save made by Knicks, but great play from Hyman to charge to the front of the net and jam the rebound behind the goaltender.
First goal of the season for young Gregory. He played 2 years with the Valencia Flyers out in your neck of the woods, Kyle.
That would make him, he plays for a very familiar team for me.
In his own end, Piagai. Switch for Vieira and gets it back. This is looking a lot, Kyle, like one of those UCSB first periods we saw so often in the early goings of the season. Jaguar Lawrence curls the puck ahead, too far for Barone. Mayorkas gives chase, and it's cleared back for Park. Park tries to weave his way through Hyman. Greg backhands it into the zone where Mayorkas will use the glass to get it out to neutral ice. Vieira. Piagai. Back for Vieira in his own end. Home run pass for Barone. Get it ahead, look for Cosio. Park made that difficult. And now Santa Clara will control. Grasic angles it off the near side boards. Vieira slaps it back in. Park knocks it down with his mitt. And it's touched for Grasic. Park, 2:05 to go in the first period. Banged off the near sideboards and angled in. This one rolls to Nix. He sticks it for Grasick. Turan can't get it out of the zone. Herlihy backhands it further. Akpish engages Park in the far side corner. Turan there to support. And the official will very quickly blow a halt to play in this one. Not as much corner digging allowed as last night.
Yeah, I was going to say, last night the Gauchos were able to take advantage of a little bit of that one, just holding the puck deep in the Santa Clara zone, especially on a few penalty kills that they had. Killed off about a minute, I think, at one point with just holding that puck and digging away down in the corner. Not going to be allowed here this evening, so Gauchos need to make sure that they can keep the puck moving while keeping it down low.
Big defensive zone win for Santa Clara, but they can't get the clear. Shot from the line, skips wide of the right-hand glove of Nix. Kyle Mooney there to retrieve and send it to the line. Spears tried a shot through traffic, block, rebound, big blocker save. I don't think Nix knew where it was coming from. That's a pure positioning stop. Kyle curls with it, backhands for Van Duzer. Spears for Kyle, lost in the feet, but gets it back. Shot pad save made. Rebound pushed to the far side boards, enabling Cameron Burke to angle it out.
And Nix is putting his rebounds in great spots so far for a lot of this game as well. A couple of them have escaped and found Gaucho sticks, but one of the strong points of his game as a goaltender is his ability to put his rebounds in areas that are optimal to allow his team to escape with the puck.
Kyle for a late retrieving Kevin. Van Duzer shot through traffic, up over the top, but bounces for Kyle. Shot from the line, blocker save. Comes to the near side boards. Kevin sweeps for Kyle. 30 seconds to go in the first period. Kevin behind the net. Uses his brother as a partial pick to curl away, but a good stick by Agarkar. It'll be attempted clear on the far side boards. Kevin can't pull the trigger through Lafleur. He'll be sent ahead for Lavarado. 10 seconds to go in the period as Lavarado stops back, but Spears is there to help the Gauchos work the puck free. Kyle will send it back into his own corner, and so ends period number one here at Ice in Paradise. 4-1, the Gauchos with the lead. They respond well to Santa Clara getting the first goal of the game on the power play, scoring the next 4 in the frame to take a 3-goal lead, larger than either team was ever able to muster last night.
And I think the Gauchos have figured out that they do need to get to the front of the net in order to score these goals. I believe every single one of them has come within just, maybe 2 to 3 feet of the top of the goal crease, with the exception of maybe the first goal, and that is just because we don't know if Kevin Mooney got a touch in front or not. Judging by the players' reactions on the ice, I think he did get a touch on it.
And I believe he was announced by the public address announcer as the goal scorer.
If that's the case, then it's fairly certain, yes, he did get a touch on it as well. So the Gauchos getting all the goals from in on top of the goal crease on rebounds. Not getting a whole lot in the way of fancy goals here this evening, but nonetheless, taking what they learned last night to heart, playing a little bit more simple offensive hockey. Not really cycling the puck quite as much, maybe a couple of shifts where they were doing a fair amount of that cycling, but for UCSB, I think a much better look and a much more adept game to handling Santa Clara here this evening.
And that's something that Coach Hires was talking about with me before the game. He loved the effort
very nice
put together
chuck-a-puck
by the team himself. And is that a chuck-a-puck right in the middle of the blue center ice dot?
Just about. I think it's off by about a foot there, but chuck-a-puck is not an easy game. We encourage everyone here in the Santa Barbara area, though, come on out, check it out, and try it. The chuck-a-puck is done at every single game, and I believe it's $2 for 1 puck, $5 for 3, if I'm not mistaken, is the price in order to do it. And it's a lot of fun. A lot of people enjoy it. One of the many benefits of coming out and supporting the Gauchos here at Ice in Paradise in person.
That throw impressive, as much so as the opening 20 minutes for the Gauchos. And as I was saying, Kyle, Coach Hires loved the full 60-minute effort from the team last night. I think you could easily say all 80 minutes against this Santa Clara Broncos team has been exactly the kind of style that the coaching staff would like to see, and ultimately will be very successful in this ACHA second division.
Well, the Gauchos have gotten back to playing their game, playing the offensive game where they can come at opponents with wave after wave of depth, control in the offensive zone, firing pucks, barreling their way to the front of the net and jamming away at rebounds. We obviously named Justin Goldzer's office as such for a reason. He scores all of his goals from right on top of the goal crease. UCSB has shown in this series that they are capable of scoring the not-so-pretty goals as much as they are the pretty ones that we have seen from several other games. So this is a great look for ice hockey at UCSB right now, and a good confidence boost for this team as well, considering that they come off arguably their hardest stretch of the season in that back-to-back with Cal and then UCLA and then Chapman. Those 4 games being probably the most difficult stretch they will face all season long.
And you have to like the way the depth has done it too for ice hockey at UCSB. We'll tell you about them as we now get to our first period scoring summary, brought to you by the Thanksgiving Hockey Camp, hosted here at Ice in Paradise in Goleta. It'll take place Monday through Wednesday, November the 21st through 23rd, and it'll be hosted by Gaucho coaches Steve Hines and Brian Scullion. Those two also the coaches of the Santa Barbara Royals, the 2015-16 LA Kings high school hockey champions. Now,
not a bad coaching staff,
to say the least. For those 3 days, drop-off will be from 8 to 8:30 with pickup from 4 p.m. You get 2 on-ice practices, conditioning, systems talk, shooting, stick handling, and ball hockey. It is really an all-around approach to learning about the game. You can do so for the price of $225 to take part in the full camp with snacks included. For more information or to register, email camp director Eric Norton at eric@iceinparadise.org. Eric is spelled not like my name, but as if you were a Viking, E-R-I-K.
Got the old Norwegian spelling on that one as well.
Goal scoring opened by Santa Clara on the power play. Cameron Lafleur getting a rebound of a shot off the end boards and depositing near post on Nora Penn. That happened with Eric Evelhoch in the penalty box after taking, as you called it, Kyle, a good penalty, hauling down Alex Mayorkas on a trip on what was a 50-50 puck, but could have been a breakaway for number 73 in black. Still, though, the Broncos able to get the conversion on their first power play of the game.
I don't think anyone can blame Evelhoch for taking that penalty. It was one that you really have to take as a defenseman in order to minimize the risk of a high-danger opportunity for your opponent. So I don't think Evelhoch was too happy with the penalty, but nonetheless, it was still a good call, a good penalty to take. Unfortunately for UCSB, not able to come up big with the penalty kill, even though the goal, really kind of that awkward off the end boards play, the shot wide off the end boards behind the net, kicks back out to a player in the opposite circle, and Nora Penn, just without the time that she needed in order to react, get back across the crease and set up again to make the save.
But the reaction from the Gauchos team was near immediate. Just 24 seconds later, it was a shot from the top of the near circle by Kyle Mooney, getting the tip in front. Overtime hero and younger brother Kevin to deflect it past Frankie Nix for the equalizing goal at the 8:12 mark. Well, the Gauchos would get their second power play of the game with Carl Grasick in the box for boarding just 28 seconds later, and it was another one of those greasy net front goals that we talked about. Christian Ockpish banging away at the puck in front. It settled at the near side post, and defenseman Andrew Vieira was there to just squeak the puck over the line for his first goal of the season, the power play marker to give the Gauchos the 2-0 lead at the 9:39 mark.
And it was a great goal for UCSB and a very just deserved award for the way that UCSB had played in the early going of this one, continuing the dominance that they showed last night. One of the things we expected, or what we hoped they did, that they would do, our first key of the game, reset mentally, don't take anything from last night for granted and expect your opponents to come out hard. Santa Clara has done exactly that, but UCSB has appeared to be completely ready for it. They've come out just as hard, if not harder, here today, and they've had a lot of success with it.
With the teams playing at 4-on-4 after trading penalties back and forth from the 10:48 mark to the 12:45 mark, it was Cooper Spears there to pick up the change on a rebound of a shot from Andrew Vieira, hitting it home hard side to the near post against the left-hand blocker of Frankie Nix to extend the Gaucho edge to 3-1.
And this is just Cooper Spears beating Frankie Nix to the near side post, got the shot away, and the release that Spears has is just so fast. He gets that puck off his stick quickly and hard right towards the side post. He just barely got it there before the blocker of Nix. Nix a little disappointed in himself that he could not control the rebound and put it further away from Cooper Spears, and then on top of it as well that he could not get over in time to keep the rebound out as well. I think it's one that in hindsight he's probably going to want back, but I don't think there was much more that he really could have done in that situation.
It was the Gauchos' fourth goal of the period, Kyle, that I think head coach Brian Gray, assistant John Pereira, and the Broncos are really going to wish had not gone in to keep it just a 2-goal game at the end of the first period. A great job by Tyler Barone getting to the net front, causing all kinds of chaos, and who there to clean up but Greg Hyman, scoring his first goal of the season at the 16:29 mark. The Gauchos with 2 players who put their first to the back of the net on the season tonight, and that's the sort of depth that we talk about can make the Gauchos so competitive, and when all of them are going, they are very hard to slow down as a unit.
And we've been talking about how we really feel like Greg Hyman has been one of those players that has really deserved either a goal or something good to go his way, because he has provided some great depth for the Gauchos offense on numerous occasions. Just hasn't quite come up with the big Gino, I guess you can call it, in order, to come up with that big goal there. But
the big Slisenko? What?
Gino Apple, This is the young people slang for hockey these days.
You had to
so
enjoy.
They tell me.
You had to enjoy his celly after the fact, then, right?
There you go. You're familiar with the terms. Anyway, but in terms of Hyman, congratulations to him. Great to see him finally get his account here at UCSB opened up. Good player, solid, having himself another very good game here this evening, and good to see the Gauchos be getting some goals from the bottom pairs as well as the top lines here this evening.
That's your first period scoring summary, brought to you by the Thanksgiving Hockey Camp here at Ice in Paradise, hosted by coaches Steve Hines and Brian Scullion, both ice hockey at UCSB Gauchos, as well as coaches of the Santa Barbara Royals. For more information about the camp or to register, email camp director Eric Norton at eric@iceinparadise.org. Eric spelled E-R-I-K.
So for UCSB, a good first period effort. I'm very happy with the way they came out. I'm sure the coaching staff will be very happy as well. Looking down the hallway and kind of judging by the body language, it doesn't appear as though they have too much to be upset about. I think for Coach Scott Hires, he's going to want to re-emphasize the necessity of having good discipline, especially considering the way this game has been officiated through the first period. This one, obviously, a much stricter standard compared to what the two teams played last night. Last night's officiating really let a lot go in terms of the physicality, the interference, maybe the minor, the little stuff that officials can sometimes just, choose to turn a blind eye to, because it's, in many cases, just a quote-unquote hockey play. The officials here this evening not letting as much of that go. I'm not overly surprised by this, considering that this is the tail end of a back-to-back, and the way that these two teams played last night, how it got physical, it got chippy, and a little bit of animosity towards the end of the second period as well. So really working to establish that standard early, that the referee is going to be the one to command this game here tonight. UCSB just needs to adapt to that a little better.
And I would argue that officiating style is more to the benefit of the Gauchos than to Santa Clara University. I think the coaching job in this first period intermission that Brian Gray has is a whole lot more difficult, because with the exception of the power play opportunities, the looks at Nora Penn have been few and far between, and where they've come from have been from the proverbial low danger areas. beyond the face-off circles, from the far boards. You see them trying to work east to west with their passes in the offensive zone, but really, it just hasn't been there for them with any regularity thus far in the game.
The Gauchos have done very well taking a page out of Santa Clara's book and just not allowing anything into the high danger areas of the ice. They are expanding the box very quickly, making sure they get out to the puck and out to the man quickly in order to cut down the amount of time that they have in order to move the puck around the offensive zone. And with the speed UCSB has had in the counterattack for the vast majority of this game, the way they've been able to carry the puck through the neutral zone, get it deep, establish the forecheck, and recover when they choose to play the dump-in game, which they haven't had to in many instances here. They've actually been able to carry the puck over the offensive blue line. Normally a much better way of generating offense as opposed to playing the dump-and-chase game. For UCSB, a lot of success there. Santa Clara's got to find a way to slow them down quickly.
What would you do if you were tasked with doing so for the Broncos?
For the Broncos, I think the biggest thing that's hurting them right now is the fact that they are sending so many men so deep on the forecheck, sending the three-man high forecheck. UCSB then sending the forwards back in behind the defensemen in order to really stretch the rink. And that leaves a giant gap more or less right around the Gauchos' own blue line on that forecheck. That allows UCSB to send a man through the middle or two men through the middle in back behind those forecheckers, and it allows them to exit the zone and build speed as they come through the neutral zone and over the blue line into the offensive end. I think for Santa Clara, they kind of need to back off on some of that pressure and not send so many guys so deep into the offensive zone. Maybe rein them in a little bit and work on protecting the blue line area in order to not allow UCSB to stretch the rink with their outlet passes.
Be still my heart. Are you arguing for a team in red, black, and white to play a trap game?
That would sound awfully familiar for a lot of fans through the late 90s and early 2000s.
1995, 2000, 2003, unfortunately. Although you could make the argument that the Devils were really more of a pure trap team for that first title in 1995, particularly having the crash line and riding the goaltending of Martin Brodeur, able to evolve as the seasons went along, relying more on skilled players like Jason Arnott and Patrick Evelhoch in later seasons. But it is an interesting argument that you make, and it would pose an interesting challenge for the Gauchos. Would they be able to get as many of the stretch passes that we see to the Moonies, to Barone when he's out on the ice, if the Broncos decide to step back and gum things up in the middle ice, maybe not play such a pretty style, but when you're down 4-1, it's not quite desperate times, but you do need to come up with measures to slow down the opposition, who's outscored you by a 7-3 margin thus far through 4 periods, plus a little bit of extra overtime on the weekend series.
And it will also help them as well when you talk about the fatigue of having to play these 2 games back-to-back and the travel that Santa Clara has had to go through in order to get here as well. Playing that 3-high forecheck is so draining because it requires your forwards to essentially have to play 200 feet of the rink every single shift, regardless of what zone it is. And with the ability UCSB has had to control the play in the Santa Clara end, forcing the forwards afterward to have to go down and pressure 175 feet away and then have to skate back if UCSB breaks that. It's asking a lot of your forwards, it's asking a lot of your defense, and it's really kind of setting Santa Clara up to wear themselves out by, I'd say, really the end of this period. I don't really know how much longer they can keep it up. So if they can settle back a little bit, set up a little bit more of that trap as you're talking about, I feel like that'll also help them in order to maintain some energy, slow UCSB down, and give them a chance to fight back and control the game a little bit more on their terms, as well as force UCSB into some turnovers in the neutral zone, which UCSB has victimized Santa Clara on a couple times here this evening.
It'll be the line of Spears and the Moonies out there against Akshay Agarkar's line. Andrew Seitz and Brendan Boardingham on the wings for him. Broncos work quickly after winning the draw, and Boardingham will shoot it into the corner at the far right side of the zone. Teams switch sides here, attacking in the second period of play. Kyle able to stretch the puck ahead for Kevin. Quickly gains the line, tries to dance by his man. Puck knocked free by Grasick to the near side boards where Kyle, having support from Spears, looks to try and wedge it free. Back to the line, Piagai. Switch to the slot. Shot blocked. The Broncos come skating ahead. Boardingham pushes it past Piagai. Penn sends it aside. Aiden Hubert, backhander to the line. Park shot wide to the blocker's side. Good hustle play to hold the puck in. The point, the shot was blocked by Vieira, and here come the Gauchos again. Kyle Mooney carries behind the net, stops and curls around. Park knocks the puck free. Burke plays it ahead and not out as it's held in by Piagai at first, but on the second effort goes the length of the sheet. We've played a minute and 16 seconds here in our second frame.
And Santa Clara coming out with what looks like a little bit of an improved resolve, really trying to put some pressure on the Gaucho defense and force the issue at the Gaucho blue line, not allowing them over quite so easily. So maybe a little bit of them somewhat listen to me this intermission. We'll see how that shapes up here as the period moves on.
Poliuso line out there now is Lysenko. Played looking for the tip. Was intercepted and outskate the Broncos. Kyle Perez, area pass to the far side corner. Lysenko avoids the hit. Was engaged by a pair of black shirts. Frees it for Poliuso. And he'll carry it out and find Jesper Damgaard. Damgaard whiffs on the pass, just sends it behind the net. Looks to dig it free. Winchester holding the puck there and sending it to the far points. Lysenko knocks it down. Poliuso takes on the hit from Winchester again. Lysenko holds it in. Behind the net for Goldser. Damgaard will give chase, but it's played to the boards. Garkar looking for some help to get it out. And it's held in by Valois. He's hooked on the play. Kyle Perez got the stick in on the hands. Penn sorting through traffic in neutral ice. Able to get to the bench just in time for the Broncos to touch and go short-handed.
And it looked like Jesper Damgaard's stick unfortunately broke in his hands. I think the blade looks like it's got a giant crack in it, so that being the reason why the Gauchos failed to control right there. But long skate for Nora Penn here in the second period in order to get back over the bench and try to get the extra man on early. Gauchos with a big opportunity to really make this a commanding lead early in the second period.
She's dealt with big bodies in front of her crease for her entire career. That's a little trip to the bench. Shot high over the top. Vieira holds the line. Walks it. Shot wide. Lavarado had it hop off his stick. The drop pass gets through, and now a chance for Lavarado. Couldn't gather it in. Vieira back to clean things up. This is the third power play of the game for the Gauchos. They're 1 for 2. Kyle gains the zone and sets up for Kevin. Back for Kyle, bottom of the near face-off circle. Kevin with it once again. For Valois. Sent over to the far boards. Pass across, shot, score, but it's going to be washed out for goalie interference.
I believe it's actually a crease violation here. This is a rule that's somewhat unique to most of the regular rink leagues around here, basically saying that if your team has possession of the puck in the offensive zone and your player is in the goal crease, that is what is called a crease violation, intended to keep guys out of the goal crease and contact away from the goaltenders. You could argue it's a pretty good thing, really, considering these are student athletes and you don't want any goaltenders getting bowled over in the goal crease regularly. So unfortunately for UCSB, it gets a goal called back, but now that once again they know the standard of the officiating, something to keep an eye out for.
I believe it was Akpish, the infringing party on it. This Piagai plays it ahead. Now Lysenko will carry in. His back pass for Goldser. dancing with it on his backhand. Finds Guy, who sends it back for Slisenko. Slisenko far boards. For Poliuso, gets it back. Cranks a slapper, pad save, rebound, another stop by Nix. And it'll be pitchforked out by Cameron Burke. Pan out to settle it down for Slisenko. 30 seconds to go on the Gaucho power play. Spears. The carry, back pass for Poliuso. Gets the return. Shoveled in front, blocked. Poliuso with it. Poliuso jams it off the side of the net. Spears settling, shooting through traffic, hits the man in front, Goleta. The rebound ends up in the defenseman in front. Whistle and a penalty coming here as there's a whole scrum of traffic in front of Frankie Nix, and a cross-checking penalty called amidst the chaos.
And I think the Gauchos are going right back on the power play here. Goleta digging away at the front of the net, took a cross-check right to the lower back. That never feels good, usually right below the shoulder pads. Appears to be no worse for wear other than the fact that, maybe his lower back is stinging a little bit on this one, but a good, gritty, digging play trying to knock that rebound back behind Nix. Once again, UCSB doing a fantastic job here this evening of those second chance opportunities, getting in and swinging away at rebounds, and they earn themselves their second consecutive power play as a result of it.
Boardingham sits for the cross-check. Gauchos 1 for 3 on the power play today. Behind the net, swept around by Kyle for Kevin. Reverse that. Kyle with it, now from Blount. For Kevin, tries to jam near post, save made on the rebound, and Nix shuts it down.
And the puck did squirt loose underneath Nix on that one, so a quick whistle unfortunately kind of denies the Gauchos an opportunity to dig away and maybe get the rebound opportunity there, but UCSB really working that puck down low and really working for those rebound opportunities against Nix here this evening.
And another thing that assistant coach Ben Brecker pointed out about Nix, it's something only a goalie would notice, the former ACHA Bowling Green State Falcon marveling at the butterfly of Nix.
It is
always
very good.
Sealed off. Blount holds it in at the point. Waiting for traffic. Shot, hit a body, deflects to the far corner where Achpish corrals. Behind the net, return feed, Achpish scores! Give and go, and the Gauchos go up by 4.
And the give and go between Achpish and I could not see who the player was down low. Achpish has now scored in every game since he came back from the suspension. Just an immediate boost of offensive talent here for the Gauchos. Noticing Justin Goleta has actually left the ice, but for UCSB, now converting on that power play using their offensive talent in order to really victimize their opponents on the opportunities that they have been given, and they're in full command of this game. That's got to be a demoralizing goal for Santa Clara.
It's a power play goal. Achpish with his second power play tally on the season. 5-1 UCSB. A whistle and a penalty, and Nix gets into it with a Gaucho player as well, and now Santa Clara has to maintain their composure here with 14:35 to go in the second period.
I didn't see how this one started. It looked to me like there was a man in on top of Nix, but I didn't see any contact. Now, if there was contact, I can imagine Nix being maybe a little frustrated right now with the way this game has gone and the fact that his defense hasn't really taken care of a whole lot of what's in front of him. Maybe getting a little bit annoyed at the fact that UCSB bumping him in front of the net right now. It appears as though Greg Hyman is headed to the penalty box. He was involved right in the middle of that. So this will be an interesting situation to have to figure out for the officials.
We wait to sort things out as Guy and Park both patiently waiting outside the halo.
And Goleta is back on the bench for UCSB. I think it was just an equipment problem. So headed to the locker room, grab something, come right back out.
This could be a circumstance, and we saw it in the last game, Kyle, where Nix got himself physically involved, got really demonstrative, almost as if to say, come on, guys, wake up.
Nix is definitely not shy of showing emotion in the goal crease, we've noticed. You know, we oftentimes see goaltenders as sort of the calm, cool, and collected ones, oftentimes some of the quieter players in the locker room.
Don't tell that to someone like another number 33, Patrick Waugh.
Well, I mean, there are exceptions to these things, obviously, but you know, you hear interviews with the guys like Jonathan Quick, Frederick Anderson, you know, Ben Bishop. Very quiet guys, very unassuming, not usually a whole lot to say. Definitely not the case for Frankie Nix, though. Definitely not afraid to be very vocal back in his goal crease and not afraid to get involved in scrums, it seems.
Just something about second periods between these two teams. There is additional discussion as a result.
I think we are going to wind up getting a penalty on UCSB. So a power play opportunity for Santa Clara here in the second period. I think Hyman may have gotten an initial penalty for goaltender interference on that one if he did come through and make any contact with Nix.
And Jag Lawrence ends up sitting as well.
Jag Lawrence, I believe, is serving the extra minor. There are two players. There are Hyman and I believe that's Brendan McMahon in the box for Santa Clara. So that is probably counterbalancing or canceling out penalties there, but then you have Jag Lawrence serving it. So power play coming up here for the Broncos.
They win the faceoff. Grasic for Park. Taken hard into the boards, and he's down in a heap after the contact from Tyler Barone, and I think Barone maybe whistled for the penalty here. The official in the near side corner had the arm up.
It happened right in front of him, so I don't think that was an easy one to miss necessarily. Barone definitely deserves this penalty. I think that's a fairly textbook boarding call. Barone putting the hands into the numbers of his opponent in a dangerous spot on the ice. And it looks to me, I can't see who's down in front of us immediately here. It appears as though he's all right.
It is Philip Park, the
defenseman.
Assistant captain from San Diego.
Still down, but definitely moving.
Finance major.
Probably definitely seeing a few stars down there, though. It was pretty hard impact, so UCSB now. This was an impactful moment the last time these two teams played. UCSB with a long 5-on-3 kill that Santa Clara was able to score on twice. Completely changed the flow of the game yesterday. Now UCSB in a much more commanding position here at the moment with the 5-1 lead. Yesterday when that happened, UCSB was leading by a score of 1-0. But nonetheless, this could be a very pivotal moment here for UCSB. Park appears to be getting up under his own power, so that's good to see.
Always have to be cautious with stuff like this, and it's a moment that you never like to see. We dealt with it 2 games ago in the game against Chapman. Connor Pierce going hard into the boards. Thankfully for Philip Park, he appears that he'll be able to get back on the bench.
Maybe a little woozy for a few minutes, but otherwise it looks to me like he's almost no worse for wear. Maybe clear out some cobwebs, take a little bit of an extra rest there, but skated off under his own power. Looks like he's actually in pretty good shape. So good news for Santa Clara, good news for the team, good news for Philip.
1:50 of 5-on-3 coming for the Broncos, and it's an extremely salient point that you make, Kyle, that this was how Santa Clara was able to turn things around in the second period of yesterday's game, turning a 1-0 deficit into a 2-1 lead. They can have the Gaucho lead if they convert on both of them here. Lafleur, Perez, working with it far boards. Pass across, shot high over the top. Piagai was splayed out in front and able to deflect the wrister by Colin Curran to the netting.
Good selfless play by Dimitri Piagai to recognize that that pass did get through. Very hard to prevent when you're in a 5-on-3 scenario, but recognizing that pass got through, dropped down, put his body on the line and got a skate to it to deflect the puck up over the top of the net. Didn't even allow it to get to Nora Penn.
Puck one to Grasic for Curran. Curran pass backdoor, back point, Lafleur for Grasic. Grasic walking in. Pass back, shot through traffic, Penn the save, rebound, jabbed home, and the Broncos score. It's Colin Curran who just had the opportunity, knocked free. He's no stranger to scoring for this Bronco program. Had 2 goals plus the game winner last season in a 3-2 win over Santa Rosa Junior College. He converts the first penalty to a power play goal with 13:53 to go here in period number 2.
And look out here for the Broncos. They still have a power play now, a 5-on-4, but once again, as we mentioned, this was how Santa Clara was able to turn the tide of the game yesterday, scoring on both opportunities in a long 5-on-3 yesterday. So UCSB needs a good response here in order to kill off the rest of this one, and they need to once again really rein in the discipline and prevent themselves from taking any more penalties here.
Minute 15 to go on the second end of the Santa Clara power play. Brendan Boardingham carries in. Boardingham set up, bottom of the near circle. Will curl behind the net with it. Reach in, poke checked away by Vieira. Puck knocked free by Rubert. Back to the line, Park. Back out there. Appears he's going to be A-OK. Boardingham, far boards, shot through traffic. Penn makes a nice glove save.
And that's a crucial save for UCSB in order to slow the game down, get a change of the penalty killing forwards, or excuse me, the defenseman on this play. The killing forwards now, Jag Lawrence on the ice, and it looks like actually we are going to get a forward change as well, now opting for a combination of Dominic Cossio and captain Justin Goldzer to kill off the remainder of this penalty. 46 seconds remaining.
Goldzer and Rubert on the draw. Rubert wins it. Back to the line. Saved by Penn. It hit her in the mask. Puck comes back in front. Slisenko will play it to the far side boards. Lavarado to the point for Grasic. Switches for Park. Back for Grasic. Shot. Save Penn. Rebound swept to the corner by Lavarado. To the point for Park. Park. Grasic loading, now fires. Penn the save, and she freezes with 15 seconds to go on the power play.
And Santa Clara taking a page out of the UCSB book, taking the shots from distance, but trying to get the rebounds off of Penn. Their first goal came off of a rebound that she was not able to control. It appeared it bounced off the top of her trapper and then just rolled out to the top of the crease where Santa Clara was able to jam it home. So 15 seconds left on this big penalty kill. UCSB needs to prevent any more shots from getting in on their goaltender.
Mooney is out to kill the remainder of this. Sent to the corner. Broncos control. Back at the point. Slap shot through traffic. Penn kicks it away from Winchester. Winchester gets it again. Sent through for Seitz. Seitz, man, Beaver tailing for it at the near post. Penn makes the save. Comes to Lafleur. Behind the net, Seitz knocked off the puck. Slisenko chips it through, chips it to the line where it comes for Spears. Chance for a 3-on-1 for Kyle. Back for Spears, shoots, and he missed it high.
I think he hit the crossbar on that one.
Back the other way come the Broncos. Valois able to dispossess Seitz. Stretched forward for Kyle. So the Gauchos kill one of the 2 power plays. 2 for 5 are the Broncos. Shot, save made on Mayorkas. From the line, Lafleur's shot, blocker to the far corner.
And you can see the energy that goal has given Santa Clara. They're all over the Gauchos right now.
Attempted jam at the near post. Penn knocked it down. Puck on the near side once again. Mayorkas for Agarkar. Throws it in front. Good stick from Van Duzer to enable Kyle to get it ahead, but not out. And Van Duzer's going to take an interference penalty here as the man Mayorkas was clearly away from the puck. And so the Gauchos go back to the kill.
And this is something that UCSB would have been able to get away with last night. The official was letting little things like this go. Not the case here this evening. Van Duzer with an opportunity to play the puck, instead opting to take out the man looking to play the puck and doing so before he had the opportunity. So once again, UCSB taking a penalty in a clutch situation, now needing a huge kill because Santa Clara is coming and they are coming hard.
6th power play of the game for the Broncos. They're 2 for 5, both of their markers on the man advantage. Gauchos get the immediate clear from Vieira. Nix has to be gracious for all this time without an assault on his net front. Nice job by Damgard playing it back for Vieira, recognizing the circumstance, and now takes the feed ahead from block. Damgard switches it for Poliuso in the near corner, but Grasic will retrieve for the Broncos. Park skates free from the two-man forecheck. Area pass finds Karan. He's got the power play marker for Santa Clara here in this second period. Back to the line, Grasic for Park. Park, backdoor feed, hop the stick of Burke at the moment of truth. Behind the net, Perez. Sends it back to the near point for Park. Perez off the return. Shot, hits the outside of the net from the near face-off dot. Blind backhand pass goes all the way to the point, but not out. On the second try, Blount able to shoot it to neutral territory. Stretched forward for Burke. Burke will gain the line. Blount stands him up there, but able to be gotten through for Park. Park tried to throw it to the front of the net, blocked by Vieira, and he's able to clear. 30 seconds to go on the power play. Nix. Stretch pass. Lavarado touches for Park. Lost it behind himself and then swept out by Herlihy.
Good play just to get a stick on it and just sweep it right back out over the blue line. That should kill off just about the remainder of this power play.
Lavarado under fire from Akpish. That'll do it. 2 for 6 on the power play are the Broncos. Piagai retrieves in the near corner. Moves it ahead for Herlihy. Out there with Calcio and Akpish. Akpish gives chase. Winchester stabbed it forward. Slisenko intercepts. His shot didn't get through. Akpish tried to move it in front. Calcio to swing it in front. Hit the defenseman Park. Boarding him. Plays it out. And plays it the length of the sheet for an icing with 8:37 to go here in the second period. Gauchos have taken the last 3 power play opportunities against in this game.
And that's something that I believe Coach Scott Hires is really going to drill into his team here at the end of this second period. 6 power play opportunities already for the Santa Clara Broncos, and really the way they've been coming after UCSB, I can't imagine it being the last one. Combine that with the fact that the officiating standard is a lot stricter here this evening than it was yesterday. This is something the Gauchos really need to clamp down on and make sure they don't take any more penalties.
Puck chipped to the near boards. Blount will pick it up there. Connects with Hyman. He scored a goal tonight for the Gauchos. Mayorkas making difficult life for him along the near boards. Barone shrugs off the hit to move forward for Lawrence. Jaguar slap shot well wide. Hyman picks up the rebound. Santa Clara able to skate it forward. A whistle and a penalty coming behind the play. I wonder what happened here. Is it going to go against Jaguar?
I think that is who is skating off is Jag Lawrence, and I think this might also be a goaltender interference penalty as he skated through the crease of Frankie Nix at the last second. Again, a behind-the-play offensive zone penalty. These are the things that coaches absolutely loathe.
Well, it looks like he's going to have a partner in the sin bin as well.
Okay, so maybe
Alex
it's
Mayorkas.
Maybe it's a little jostling or jousting down in that end. I didn't really see any contact on Nix. So it is going to be coincidental minors. And with this I think this is going to be 4-on-4, which the Gauchos already have a goal in 4-on-4 play here this evening.
Kyle carries in near wing, late offside, whistle blown by the linesman.
Little bit too quick for brother Kevin in order to get back out of the zone. Kevin tried to pull the little, seems like they kind of had that play drawn up a little bit, just trying to jump over the line quickly, but a little too quick.
We've talked about Kyle's roller hockey proclivities. Kevin, good as well in 17 D1 games last season, 30 goals and 20 helpers for the roller Gaucho side. Kyle ahead for Kevin. Head of steam in up the near wing, dances through the men. His shot doesn't get through, but he tracks down the rebound and sends for Van Duzer. His pass goes through Blount. James gets it and will backhand it behind the cage. Park retrieves, reverses, looking for Grasick, but Kevin will be able to come up with it. Blount at the point. Kevin turns. Tried to get the wrister through. Grasick blocked it. Kyle has it though. Pass, backdoor, pad save by Nix, shutting down it on Kevin.
And great lateral movement save from Nix as well. Probably his best of the game here so
Blount's
far.
shot created a rebound that Kyle was able to pick before Nix could get the glove on it. Kyle with it near boards. Skates to the top of the face-off circle now, wheels high slot. Pass back door, looking for the return feed. Perhaps a stick on that by Nix, 40 seconds to go in 4-on-4. Kevin for Kyle. Works through his man. Turns, pass back door. Kevin couldn't get it on the connection. Park jostling with him. Grasick behind the net. Look to play it to the line and out. And both teams look like they'll be going for at least forward changes. Both of the defensemen still out there for Santa Clara. Goldser, as we're back to 5 aside, his pass picked up by Spears. Puck intercepted. Goldser's shot, pad save made. Nix. Spears on the steal. Spears on the backhand. Man all over him. Tries to pass back against the grain. It's intercepted and be played out by Agarkar. Vinegar took the hit to move it forward, but now is steal. In shot, save made by Nora Penn. Cutting down the angle on Cameron Burke and taking it in the chest protector.
And she bails out Eric Evelhoch, who just seemed to lose the handle at the last second, the moment of truth. But in the last moment, Cameron Burke coming in. Cameron Burke has been one of the more impactful Broncos here in this season series so far. Well, I should say this weekend series. But for UCSB, a great clutch save from their goaltender at a moment where they really needed it.
Weekend series, season series.
I guess it is the same right
difference.
now. I guess it is the same right now, considering that this is the first time the two teams have met this season.
Good work by Colsio to chip it head, and now Akpish has it shot. Pad save, rebound, cleared to the line. Hammered by Valois, didn't get all of it. Blocker to the far corner by Nix. Lavarado plays to the line. Chipped through Akpish. Valois. Ahead for Colsio, takes the hit to move for Herlihy. Couldn't string it through the slot. And Lavarado comes up with the steal. 4:45 to go here in the second period. Shot, blocker save by Penn, shutting down Boardingham. This will be played all the way down the ice by Herlihy for the stoppage in play. You know, the eagle-eared listener, Kyle, will notice that the DJ here at Ice in Paradise plays a good deal of professional wrestling themes. Now, this isn't one, but when I looked at the hometown of Brendan Boardingham, I had to do a double take. I had never heard of anybody else from Nutley, New Jersey, but former ECW wrestler Balls Mahoney. And if any one of you watching this broadcast gets that reference, let's be friends.
I think you will make an instant friend with our play-by-play Eric here.
Valois sends it far side. It's touched for Colsio. Colsio forced to just sweep it in. Gauchos will go for a line change. Grasick had his pass deflected by Poliuso's stick. Vinegar. Big battle here along the near side boards. Damgard drives it deep. Park turning with it, plays it off the boards. And out this goes for Mayorkas. Mayorkas lined up by Piagai. Played forward and play halted as the arm comes up from the official with 3:40 to go in the second period.
And I think this is going to be a Gaucho power play this time around, with an offensive zone penalty being taken by the Broncos. Going off, I believe, is Mayorkas for what I think was a cross check. Nope, it's going to be called a rough by the official. So UCSB now with an opportunity to try to swing some of the momentum of this second period back, because since that 5-on-3 goal, Santa Clara has really been reinvigorated. They've come back to life. They've shown a lot of improved morale as a team, and considering that the Gauchos at one point had a 5-1 lead in this game, really it doesn't quite feel like it's 5-2 at the moment.
Fifth power play of the game for the Gauchos. 2 for 4. Valois. Mayorkas for roughing. Kyle switches places with Kevin. Gives it to him off the near side corner. Back to the line for Valois. Kevin, pass, backdoor, settled shot, pad save, rebound, still bouncing there, sent to the line, and it skitters through Valois. Hard charging Cameron Burke on the back check. He was the one who made the play defensively for Santa Clara. UCSB will reset in their own end. Spears carries in up the near wing. Drops the puck pass for Kevin. Kevin tracks it down far point. Minute to go in the power play. Valois loads and fires, blocker save. And the Bronx get a clear. Penn will settle it. Nora nowhere near as active, moving the puck from her crease as Nix is. Really emblematic of European-style goaltending. It's Poliuso, beaten hard in along the boards by Park. Back to the line, Van Duzer. Area pass for Poliuso. Mitch's shot deflects over top the net. 20 seconds to go in the Gaucho power play. Goldser digging for it, but the Broncos getting a clear from Park. One of the biggest reasons I think you could argue for that difference in the European style, they all play on the international IIHF ice sheet.
Much bigger in terms of the width of the rink on that one. Sometimes if the puck goes into the corner, 10 to 15 feet further for the goalie to skate.
Grasic back in his own end as the Gaucho power play goes begging. Poliuso throws it in front. Van Duzer holds near point. Goldser fighting with Park there. Works the puck through it. Throws it in front. The pass a little bit behind the man. Blount chipped to the net front. Rebound shoveled behind the net. And play comes to a halt.
And I'm not sure if it's because the net's off behind or if the shot may have gone up and gone off the mesh netting on that one. But for UCSB, unfortunately, no goal on that one, but still appearing to hold the offensive zone and hold on to some of that momentum after that power play, which is, I guess, a good consolation for not necessarily getting the goal, but really attempting to get back in control of this game, considering how much Santa Clara got a boost out of their 5-on-3 goal. UCSB looking to really kind of subdue the pressure they've been facing over the last several minutes.
Van Duzer throws it into traffic. Shot sent over top the net by Barone. Along the far boards, Perez played it forward. Burke sent it to the front of the net. The poke check by Penn forced the shot wide. 40 seconds to go here in period 2. Jag Lawrence forechecking on Lafleur. Lafleur using the net as a pick. Lawrence peeled off. Winchester ahead, and Van Duzer regains for the Gauchos. Work through for Hyman. Finds Barone. 15 seconds. Barone lobs it in front. Nix was knuckling, bouncing on edge, so he can just smother it with the trapper.
Take no risks, just rein it in, get the team to the locker room where they're at, reset, come out hard in the third period. That's what's going through Nix's mind right now. 11 seconds left here in this second period.
Mooney's and Spears out there for one last shift here in the second frame. Kyle tries to push the puck through. The draw well won by Seitz. Blount back to retrieve. Seitz stood up and knocked down by Van Duzer, and that's going to draw a penalty for a rough. So as we start period 3, the Broncos will be on their 7th power play of the game, and Van Duzer is incredulous about the call. I must be honest, Kyle, the puck's in the feet of the player. It seems like that's a spot where the contact should be allowed to be made, but it could be the official deciding as the period's coming to the end, it is excessive physical contact.
I think that must be what the interpretation of it is, because as you mentioned, if the puck is in the feet, you can't necessarily really get an interference call at that point, but you can, however, give the rough if they do deem it excessive. I think that is what the official has gone ahead and interpreted that hit to be. Could also be that in a combination of it being late in the second period, coming right at the buzzer with the hit as well, so maybe determining it to be a little bit late. Assistant Captain Dimitri P. guy pleading his case a little bit there, but for UCSB, 2 periods in the books, a 3-goal lead, but they're going to have to be good coming out of the locker room straight away. Santa Clara's power play has been effective so far here this evening. It has both of their goals so far this game.
That's really been the story for their offense in this weekend series against the Gauchos. All goals coming with the man advantage for them. But all things in perspective, Kyle, if I would have told you that despite the penalty bug in frame number 2, the lead would still be the same as it was at the end of period number 1, you'd have to take that. It's still a 3-goal advantage for the hosts.
And it is definitely still a 3-goal advantage, and that is still something UCSB will be very happy to have. But how many times on this broadcast have we said that no lead in the ACHA is a safe one? And I think the UCSB coaching staff isn't going to necessarily be extraordinarily happy with the way that lead was maintained at a 3-goal margin, considering that UCSB came out firing and dominant through the first 20 minutes. Second period, equally dominant and firing early, but getting themselves into penalty trouble, struggling to figure out some of the officiating standards, really trying to impose their physical will, and in some cases going out of their way and taking what you would call rather silly penalties in a couple instances as well for UCSB. So things that the coaching staff will definitely want to improve on, really just staying out of the penalty box like we mentioned. And that's going to have to start early here, as UCSB's got a big penalty kill they got to deal with.
The Gauchos perhaps wishing the official would take a holiday for his heavy standard. We remind you that the Ice in Paradise Holiday Skating Show takes place on December the 17th with 2 shows for you to enjoy at noon and at 5 p.m. Come out to Ice in Paradise to see world-class skaters as well as students from the Ice in Paradise Skating School. The Ice in Paradise Holiday Skating Show, the second period sponsor for our scoring summary. And if I were to read back the penalty rap sheet, it would be far too long, so we will just give
be here
you
the whole intermission.
The 2 goals for the period. For ice hockey at UCSB, on the power play, Christian Ockpish puts home another goal for the Gauchos. He, as you mentioned, Kyle, immediately after the puck hit the twine, has been a revelation, not entirely a surprise, considering that he was tied for the team lead with 8 goals in 8 NCHA games last season. But the offense, especially from a player who is slotted down on the lower 6 of the lines, always has to be appreciated, getting some time with some of the more quote-unquote skill players on the power play. He's able to find the back of the net to extend the lead to what at the time was 5-1.
Christian Achpisch is the type of player that coaching staffs absolutely love to have at their disposal because they are what is known as a quote-unquote utility player, capable of playing down lower in the lineup, up higher in the lineup. He can play defense, which we've seen. We've seen him play offense as he is this game. He scores goals. He throws the body around. He can kill penalties. He can play the power play. Whatever it is you want him to do, Christian Achpisch is capable of doing that. One of the things that comes to my mind when he did score that goal was veteran presence. He is a type of player that the rest of the locker room looks to for leadership, looks to for a boost when they need offense, looks to whenever they need someone to step up and maybe fill in a defensive role on a big penalty kill. He has been fantastic since he returned from that unfortunate suspension earlier on in the league, but I think that has actually motivated him somewhat to come out and be an even better player here for UCSB this season.
Achpisch, though he may just be a sophomore as an aeronautical engineering major, we've got some smart guys on this Gaucho team. Molecular engineering grad student Eric Evelhoch also amongst those that we most normally note, but perhaps it's not a surprise considering he's basically been playing since he could walk, having grown up in Canada, 94 miles north of Toronto, 56-mile drive from Barrie, and has been a feature player in teams that made it to the Nationals, scoring an overtime game-winning goal in the LA Silver Stick Tournament. So, another goal for Gauchos. Achpisch on his season ledger. As I mentioned, it would extend the lead to 5-1 at the time, but then came the penalties. And with the Gauchos dealing with a 5-on-3, it would be a Gaucho-esque goal that went in for Santa Clara, with Colin Curran going hard to the front of the net. The puck just barely came loose from Nora Penn with her sprawled on her wallet. Curran able to poke it home and bring it back to a 3-goal deficit.
And once again, just shoot the puck, crash the net, get to the front, jam away at rebounds, and that's all the Rinn, New York native needed to get a puck that Nora Penn unable to really get a grasp on, maybe an awkwardly bouncing puck. It appeared to me as though it at one point wound up on top of her trapper before bouncing down over to the side. She's had a little bit of trouble dealing with the rebounds here this evening, and unfortunately on that particular instance, not able to deal with that rebound properly, and it winds up back behind her. Not a pretty goal by any means, a pretty ugly, gritty, greasy goal of just jamming a puck that somehow got behind her over the line, but nonetheless, that goal really changed the momentum and the entire outlook for the rest of the second period, and it's definitely still going to have an impact here on the third period, considering that the UCSB Gauchos are going to be starting this one shorthanded.
It's your second period scoring summary brought to you by the Ice in Paradise Holiday Skating Show. Mark your calendars for December 17th. 2 shows for you to enjoy at noon and 5 p.m. Come and see world-class skaters as well as the skating school students from Ice in Paradise. For more information, visit www.iceinparadise.org. Well, Kyle, before the game, we came up with 3 keys, 3 centers of analysis brought to you by Center Ice Santa Barbara. Center Ice is a brand new hockey and figure skating retail showroom in Santa Barbara County, located in Goleta, just minutes from the Ice in Paradise facility. It is the premier destination in Central California to find your hockey and figure skating equipment and apparel. Visit them at 7127 Hollister Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call them 805-770-7970 or visit them on the web at centericesb.com. Center, spelled the Canadian way, C-E-N-T-R-E.
Could we say that's the Christian Achpisch way now?
You know?
As the Canadian native?
I like that. We could also go with the Michael Lavarado way of spelling it, the native of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, the center for the Santa Clara Broncos. But going back to those 3 centers of analysis, your 3 keys for the game, how have the Gauchos done with them through 40 minutes?
I think UCSB actually did very well with my first key of the game. The reset mentally type thing, expect your opponent to come out hard. UCSB really withstood the early pressure and established once again, as we've come to know it, the UCSB style first period, where they explode offensively early, generate a lot of chances, get some pucks behind the goaltender, and really make their mark on a game early. They absolutely 100% did that, and that's crucial to do when you're essentially on the second game of a back-to-back like they are here this evening for UCSB. Oftentimes it's very easy for opponents who win the first game of a back-to-back series against a team like they are playing right now to maybe take it a little bit easy in the early going of the first game. UCSB did no such thing here this evening, so I would give them top marks for that here. Shoot and crash.
One thought on that first key before you continue on, Kyle, though. Could you almost make the argument that the penalty-heavy play is a sign of being not only engaged, but maybe a little bit too much?
Yes and no. I think both teams have had a little bit of trouble adapting from the very wide open officiating standard from last night to the very tightly called one here this evening. It's gone both ways. I think Santa Clara has been short, I think, what did we say, 5 times that the Gauchos have been on the power play here so far. UCSB about to go short for, I believe, the 7th or the 8th time here this evening. So both teams have really struggled with the new officiating standard here this evening. I don't know necessarily if it's because they've been a little bit too engaged, but I think it's because it's kind of difficult as well, and it's also you have the whole idea of these two teams have seen each other both of the last 2 nights. There's a bit of animosity. There's some bad blood that's been starting to develop. Teams are getting a little annoyed. We have seen goaltender Frankie Nix lash out at one point as well on his defense, and I think he even took a swing at, I believe it was it Hurley down low, I think is who it was involved down there. It may have been Hyman.
I think it was Hyman.
It may have been Hyman down low, as Hyman came in front and just kind of clipped him a little bit. So we are seeing a little bit of aggression physically from both teams in this game.
Quickly on the other 2 centers of analysis, your keys for the game, obviously, I think you could say shoot and crash the net, create the Steve Hines goals, if you will. The Gauchos have been able to do that in spades tonight.
Well, they definitely have a coach that's very adept and very familiar with creating the front of the net goals. Coach Steve Hines making a pretty significant international and NHL career out of scoring the dirty, grimy goals.
And for the third key, how has the passing been?
The passing has been much better here this evening. I've noticed UCSB has been landing pucks on sticks much better than they were yesterday evening. And I think the score right now can attest to that a little bit. UCSB really being able to generate the offense exactly how they want to. Not nearly as many passes are getting picked off as they go through the slot. UCSB going low to high in the zone as opposed to low to the front of the slot a lot more this game. So playing to their opponent, using a strategy that they're a little bit more adept to, that's going to be a little bit more effective. So for UCSB, I think that's a very good look, and I think the passing has been very good here so far through this game.
The Gauchos currently with as many goals, 5 on the board, as the LA Kings put past Calgary in picking up the 5-0 regulation win last night at Staples Center.
I would doubt it was an overtime win.
And if you want to learn to play hockey, you can do so through the Little Kings program presented by Lucky Brand and Hockey Monkey and CCM. Tyler Toffoli wants to help first-time boys and girls aged 4 to 8 learn to play hockey. There'll be 6 on-ice sessions at a number of rinks, 13 of them across Central and Southern California. Ice in Paradise is one of those rinks. Only 30 players per rink are allowed. The program includes complete CCM hockey equipment for all participants to keep. Equipment to be professionally fitted at the Hockey Monkey Superstore in Irvine. For just $150, your child can be a Little King. Children with previous hockey playing experience are not eligible. Register online. The deadline is December 16th. LAKings.com/LittleKings. You can also email hockey@LAKings.com for more information. This program in participation with USA Hockey's Learn to Play initiative. So for the Gauchos, 2 minutes of penalty kill time left to be dealt with following Hunter Van Duzer being whistled for a rough, delivering a heavy hit in the waning seconds of the second period. So it's the 7th power play of the night for Santa Clara. They are 2 for 6. Gauchos have led by as much as 4. It's a 3-goal lead here, but Kyle, cutting it to 2 would do worlds for the Broncos if they can do so on this power play to begin the third. The Gauchos defend the leftmost goal for those of you listening on MixLR as the Broncos control the puck off the draw. Perez skates up the near wing, able to get the puck deep. Valois looked for Slisenko, picked up by Damgard, and saucered the length of the sheet. Nix out to play it. Philip Park.
Looks like there's some water on the rink still. The puck not really moving very well.
Finally able to skate it out. Has to go skate to stick to move it forward for Cameron Burke. Burke gets by the push of Valois. Sent hard around the boards and out by Michael Herlihy. Park taken away by Damgard. Midden off the puck so Park can return to retrieve. A minute to go. Ooh, funny bounce off the forechecking stick by Barone. Perez. Knocked away by Barone. Played back into the Broncos zone by Lawrence. Park. Stick checked by Barone. Finally able to get it through him. Broncos with numbers. Back for Lavarado. Stops at the top of the near face-off circle, but it's taken away by Jaguar Lawrence. Lawrence up in, shoots, save made. Nix rebound, cleared behind the net by Seitz. Jag continues to dig with it. Look to backhand it in front, but Seitz ultimately possesses and plays it up the near boards. Gauchos content to stop it there before Barone chips it back into the end. 5 seconds to go on the power play for the Broncos as Barone has it, and the penalty has been killed. The Broncos now 2 for 7 on the power play tonight as Park tried to knock over Barone and took out his own man Winchester. Friendly fire as Spears rides his man off the puck. Kyle Mooney carries in up the near boards, curls around the net, sends back to Vieira's point, bounces off the near boards for him. Vieira fakes the shot, now gets it deep, thrown in front. Hop through Spears' stick. Kevin with a shot, blockered behind the net by Nix. Kyle comes up with the steal, spins away from his check. Pass back door. Nice stick at the near post by John Winchester to prevent this stuff. Spears shot, towed to the far corner by Nix. Kyle comes up with a puck retrieval near corner. Sends it back to the point, and it's held in. The shot through traffic, save made, and Frankie Nix holds for the faceoff. You know, Kyle, in talking with head coach Brian Gray before the game, this Santa Clara team, which when it started 6 years ago, had a female goalie, much in the way that the Gauchos do now, but now they have the luxury of being able to turn great tenders away.
Having, I think they said, what, 5 goaltenders show up to tryouts?
Certainly at the ACHA, that is a luxury that
Very
not many,
few teams
if any, have.
Very few teams have. And I want to say that was a great penalty kill from the Gauchos in order to start the game as well. And we would be remiss if we did not mention the effort put forth by penalty killing forward Jaguar Lawrence on that penalty kill. Just single-handedly, for the most part, keeping the Santa Clara Broncos pinned into their own zone and just really making a nuisance out of himself with his speed, much that we know he can.
Perhaps an instance, too, where the fresh ice, not of to utmost benefit. Stood up at the line by Damgard. Jesper ultimately controls. Tried to angle it in, but Gratzik intercepted it. Damgard picks it off far point. Looks for the return feed from Pauliuso. It's a step in front of him. Dakota Binniger pinned along the near side boards. Goldser sweeps it away and has his stick swept away, but back to the point it goes. Shot deflected in front by Pauliuso, wide of the far post. Damgard, shot deflected high, and Nix comes up with the glove and had a little for Pauliuso on the flyby at the end there. 15:57 to go in the third period.
Well, I think we make a mention every single game of Pauliuso's propensity for getting in the head of opponents, whether it's defensemen or specifically goalies. Seems like he is always either just getting a little bit of a shot after the whistle or whatever it is. He's very adept at playing the mental game as much as the physical game, and opponents really don't seem to like him.
An LA Kings fan who patterns his game after Matt Bolesky.
Gotta see that.
Akpish curling behind the net, tries to shoot short side, save made, rebound. Nick's able to find it, dropping to his knees after it looked like it may have bounced into the paraphernalia of defenseman Cameron Lafleur.
And the Gauchos seem to have really reset their mentality as well after that great penalty kill, seeming to have sort of drawn control of the game back and getting a good amount of possession time here in the Santa Clara end. No reward for it as of yet, but this is a great way to spend this third period while trying to hold down that 3-goal lead.
Akpish won the face-off scrum, back to the point. Valois stung it. Nix handled it like a shortstop. Although you don't see very many left-handed shortstops.
You really don't necessarily. Most of the time the left-handed ones wind up being pitchers usually.
Akpish to oppose Cameron Burke. 4v4, won by the Gauchos. Shot through traffic, deflects wide. Gaucho taken down in the high slot, and I think that's going to be the whistle here coming against the Broncos. And so the Gauchos to the power play for the 6th time. Check that, 6th time in the game.
And this is going to want to be an opportunity for UCSB where they really work at just maintaining possession down in the Santa Clara and wear their opponent out and work the puck into a prime shooting area in order to generate a rebound. Patience being a necessity. That we have seen them have no problem being patient, especially when they do have the power play, and specifically this forward trio that's out right now. Cooper Spears centering the Mooney brothers. They can move the puck and manipulate it around the zone very well. This is going to want to be a particular instance in which UCSB really works on their opponent to work on the clock.
Perez is obviously adverse to the call. I believe it was initially called a rough.
And now we have the penalty up on the board. I think that was the delay, is that the penalty was not yet up on the board.
Face-off won by Spears. Kevin back to the point. And the puck did, in fact, come barely outside the zone. Valois, I think, trying to sell this more than anything right now.
Like a true defenseman would.
Apoplectic look.
I have tried many a times to sell that to the referee, and
did the officials ever bite on it?
No, not really. I was a much better salesman in the rental car business than I ever was to a referee.
But on the rink, no buys.
No buys, almost ever.
Vieira shoots in. Nix back out to put it on a tee for his defenseman. Valois holds the point. Vieira, near boards, top of the face-off circle, gave it to Kevin, got it back. For Kevin, for Vieira, shot through traffic, was looking for the tip play from Spears, went wide, cleared to the line, Valois another hold. Finds Kyle. Kyle dancing with it, his pass back behind Vieira. Burke giving chase. Nice angle play, springs it for Kyle. Curls at the near face-off dot. Pass back across. Kevin allows Valois to take. Kyle. Spears throws across the slot. Kevin. Back for Valois. Under a minute to go on the Gaucho power play. Vieira for Kevin. Back for Vieira. Through traffic, goes wide for Kyle. Kyle, pass, Hops off the heel of Kevin's stick, but he retrieves. Vieira for Kevin. Scoops it for Spears. Spears passes back for Valois. 25 seconds to go in the power play.
Good patience shown from the Gauchos on this man advantage.
Kyle banging across, finds Kevin for Vieira. Valois back for Vieira. Valois makes a slapper that screams wide of the stick side, and this will kick back out of the zone as the power play comes up empty. But the Gauchos continue to press. The drop pass, neither Kyle or Spears was ready for it. Perez steaming ahead, fresh out of the box, drives the net. Penn makes the save. Spears sends it wide, took a stick to the mush to make the play. Mooney to Mooney. Whistle and a penalty call coming here. It'll go for a slash, and judging by the skyward look by Michael Lavarado, this one may be going against the Broncos.
I will believe it when I see it, but I believe you are also correct. Although the UCSB Gauchos did touch the puck when the whistle was blown, and headed to the box is Andrew Vieira. So this is going to be a Santa Clara opportunity here. Immediately after the Gauchos came up short on one of their own, 12:55, so there is a lot of racetrack still to go here in this game. UCSB once again calling on that penalty kill to come up with a big one right here and maintain this lead that they're currently hanging on to.
8th power play opportunity for Santa Clara. 2 for 7. Vieira for slashing. McMahon played it deep. Van Duzer just doing hard work along the end boards and able to get the clear. Lawrence on his horse, but the Bronco goalie able to clear it away. I'm sorry, Kyle, stop rolling your eyes.
You could even see that without looking over.
Winchester,
or was it too loud?
Played it to the slot, stubbed out. Nice job to drag the puck onside with the skate by Curran. And no, he wasn't able to bring it in onside.
Looked a little awkward
offside
to me too, so this should wind up now being an intentional offside, and I think come all the way back down into the Santa Clara end.
That is the call from the linesman.
That is
on the near side boards.
Usually what the linesman will do in a situation where they give them the benefit of the doubt of a delayed offside and the player continues to pressure. That is usually considered an intentional offside. So face-off coming all the way down to the blocker side of goaltender Frankie Nix. 1:16 left to go on the power play.
Curran continues to have words for the official as Pauliuso wins the draw. Out there with Greg Hyman. Pauliuso takes a heavy hit. Burke. 1 minute to go in the power play. Park slices in near zone. Stops up at the top of the circle. Shot on Penn. Save made. And she swallows the rebound with a Bronco lurking.
And that's a crucial time for a goaltender to swallow up the rebound when you have a player barreling down right to the top of the crease looking for any sort of loose rubber. Nora gets the glove on this one and makes sure she hangs on to it this time, maybe pleading her case a little bit for the contact. I don't think she's going to get it from the official here, but nonetheless a solid stop from Nora here in order to really allow the Gauchos to reset on this penalty kill.
Off the draw. Nice effort to wave it out to neutral territory by Hyman. Perez angles it in. Hit applied. The puck gathered by Burke. To the line for Park. Shot through traffic, scores! Power play goal. 2-goal game, game on with 11:22 to go in the third.
And you could feel it coming with the number of penalties UCSB has been taking in this game. This is also just a perfect shot that beats Nora Penn over the blocker side. From distance, I didn't necessarily see a screen out in front, but boy, as you mentioned, game on at this point. Now only a 2-goal advantage for UCSB, and we saw how much of a momentum boost the last power play goal gave Santa Clara in this game. UCSB should expect at least double that now here in this one.
3 for 8 on the power play as Philip Park scores it. Goldser. Damgard knocked away to Lavarado. Lavarado will angle in and chase. Boardingham behind the net. Backhands it off the side of the net. Lavarado lurking, but the Gauchos able to work it around to the near point, and it gets through Winchester. Goldser forces the pass back for Winchester. Damgard wins the puck battle near boards. Goldser for Damgard. Nice stick by Lavarado. Will work back for Vieira. Jesper takes the return. His shot, Nix had no idea where it was. Achpish out there with this line now. Damgard, shot blocker saved by Nix. Achpish for Goldser. Goldser returns for Achpish. It rolled off his stick at the moment of truth. Will go to the near point. Vieira gives for Damgard. Damgard tried to play it to the slot. Nobody home. Lafleur bounds this one ahead. He will go in on Penn. No icing as we pass the midway mark of the third period. The Park power play goal has cut the Gaucho lead to 2.
And that is an offside call.
So face-off coming in neutral territory. Fans, we remind you that the Gauchos will next be in action next weekend. 2 games, Saturday and Sunday, against the Santa Rosa Junior College Polar Bears.
We have seen them before, the first 2 games here at Ice and Paradise this season.
Run taken in neutral territory, drawing some noise from the crowd as a steal by Perez. Perez tried to throw it in front, bouncing puck. Barone digs it off the back of the cage. Boy, the line's all in a blender here in third period action for the Gauchos. Kyle throws it in front. Puck in the feet of Barone. It'll be wedged off. Burke played it for Lavarado. Able to get it past the outstretched arm of Van Duzer. Piagai retrieves. Back for Hunter Van Duzer. Dimitri Piagai. Ahead for Kyle. Now Kevin. Cooper's out there with him as well now. Gauchos were in the midst of a change in that last shift. But the Broncos dropping back and really holding that blue line here in the third period. Kevin with speed, drops back for Kyle. The late arriving Spears shoots, and a blocker save, turning it to the twine behind the net. Over top by Frankie Nix.
I'm not sure. I think I may have heard that one clip the top of the crossbar. It may have been the top of the stick of Frankie Nix in order to put that one over, but a great shot from Cooper Spears. And maybe a little bit of luck from the goaltender Nix on that one in order to keep it out. That looked like it was bound for that blocker side corner.
Off the draw, Kyle back to the point, takes the return feed. Goes towards the high slot. His shot blocked by Vinegar. Plays it behind, switching for Kevin. Back to the line. Shot deflects off a Santa Clara stick. Face-off will remain in the Bronco end. 2 ticks under 8 minutes to play in the final regulation frame. I say regulation because these 2 teams went to overtime last night. And number 15 in white ended up being the hero.
Hopefully it doesn't require quite the same dramatic heroics here this evening.
Mooney. For Mooney. Kyle, pass backdoor. Spears didn't get all of it, but Kevin there to retrieve. Back to the line for Blount. Blount. Bounding behind the net, Spears. Twisted back away by Grasick. Spears with it, backhander, blocker save, gives for Kyle. Tries a cross slot feed, broken up by Burke's stick, and Perez is away. Stood up by Blount at the line. Blount will play back up the far side boards. Off the bench, Winchester able to switch rink for Parton to play behind on the backhand. Full-scale change for Santa Clara and a giveaway. Played to the slot. Nice work by Valois. And here comes Kyle Mooney. Kyle, pass for the trailer. Save made on Barone. Don't think Tyler got as much on that as he wanted.
I think he lost the handle at the last second.
Winchester bounding puck up in to the Bronco bench. I know that there are some times where as a player you can be annoyed by your coaches, but don't hurt the man in charge.
That very nearly bounced off that rebound and clocked him right in the dome. Fortunately missed him by just a few inches over there.
Everything okay there on the Preston Marine Hotchkiss visitor player bench. Barone on the offensive zone draw won it, but jumping forward, Boardingham comes up with it. Boardingham enters far side boards, played it around. Hyman moved it forward. Lawrence takes on Park. Barone tied up, moves into the end boards, but Hyman played it towards the area, intercepted and cleared by Seitz. This one goes for an icing as Vieira just draws some, well, let's see, what's the right word I want to use for argument here from the Broncos side that we haven't heard yet?
My favorite word, dissent.
That's a good one.
Dissent in this case. Although I don't know what there really is the dissent about in this one, because that looked like it was, I know I've seen players sandbag in order to allow those icings through, and maybe a little bit on this one, but not much was necessary from Vieira. That was pretty much a guaranteed icing.
Poliuso curls it for Goldser. Goldser continue hard work along the near side boards. Damgard with that line now. Damgard for Vieira. Shot through traffic. Hits a whole string of bodies in front. Goldser can't pull the trigger. Puck comes loose. They continue to jam for it. Who's got it covered? Is it Grasick? Is it Nix? After everything, somehow Jesper Damgard ended up on top of Nix, and I don't know how Damgard would end up in a spot like that. He'd had to have been ridden in. That's not the Jesper Damgard I know.
Not something you typically see. The funny thing I think out of all of that was at the end, Grasick appeared to be taking a couple stick pokes as he was down trying to cover that one up with his body at the end, and just kind of popped up and more or less started shoving the first person in front of him, and it was two fellow black shirts that he started pushing.
Barone, Calcio, and Herlihy. Check that Ockpish, I should say. Calcio played it behind, teed up. Herlihy delivers the body as the pass off the elbow of Lavarado. Gauchos able to angle it back in. 5:20 to go in the third period. Herlihy on a puck battle for a moment, but it's worked to the far boards. Herlihy enables Calcio to send it back. Puck waved at, comes up empty. Ockpish now. Shot deflects, and the faceoff will remain to the right of Frankie Nix.
And now we get to crunch time. 5 minutes exactly remaining up on the clock. UCSB hanging on to what is a 2-goal lead after Santa Clara was able to cut it down with that power play goal. Every single goal that they have scored in this weekend series has come on the man advantage.
They win the draw, and Colin Curran Drives it deep. Perez for Curran. Curran trying to center, given a rough ride on the play by Piagai, and Piagai gives him another shot. Puck cleared to the line, but not out. Grats it. Tough shot from Park. Screams wide. And played back in. Intercepted Akpish, and he angles it forward, and the slow roller changeup gets out to neutral territory. Gauchos want to change here. They'll finally get the opportunity to do it. So too will Santa Clara. Spears and the Moonies. Spears gets through the body contact, gets it back from Kyle.
Nice little move there.
Andrew Seitz swinging at smoke. Pass broken up at the Gaucho blue line, but it'll be chipped forward by Spears. Garkar played back around to the near side for Seitz, but held in. Couple deflections in the slot. No Gaucho could control. Kyle goes down off the play. Puck shot in from the blue line by Park, and Penn able to gather it in, maybe a little bit uncomfortable with the location, so she holds with 3:27 to go in the third.
Kind of an awkward looking shot in on Penn as well, and a weird spot for a goalie to have to deal with, right underneath the blocker. So Penn kind of having to grab it out of midair while dropping down in order to hang on to it.
Santa Clara, looks like Lavarado may have come in early there. Aiden Rubert will get to stay. The offensive zone draw for Santa Clara. Official and linesman having some words. We'll keep an eye on Frankie Nix, getting to be near that time where you think about pulling the goalie. Shot from the line, well high and wide by Winchester. Kyle able to bash it out off the boards for Kevin. Tried a backhander for Spears, but it was intercepted and cleared by Winchester. Feed too far for Kyle. LaFleur scored the first goal of the game for Santa Clara. Able to get it deep. Cooper kicked free for a moment, but taken away by Boardingham. Lavarado to the line. Lavarado gets it back. Gauchos just trying to keep the Broncos to the outside here. It's this first line which has been so effective in possessing the puck throughout the series that is hemmed up in their own end. Unable to get off the ice as Santa Clara switches up the forwards with 2:20 to go in the third period. Ahead for Kevin. Kevin draws, shoots, pad save made by Nix. Kyle sticks it along the near boards. His pass for Kevin in the near corner. Back to the line, Slisenko wide of the glove. Kyle retains. Sent through for Barone. Barone for Kyle in front. Score! Kevin Mooney is money again for the Gauchos, and their lead is back to 3.
And that's a clutch goal after a long extended shift for this top line. Spears actually got off the ice several seconds previously, I'd say 30 to 45 seconds before, but it's the Mooney brothers who, as you mentioned, so good at just controlling the puck down in the offensive zone, maintaining that possession, and finally, at some point this weekend, they're able to string a pass down low into the slot for the tap-in goal, getting that pretty one that they've been looking for all weekend long. And that's got to be the backbreaker here for Santa Clara with 1:52 left. UCSB back to that 3-goal lead.
It's the second goal of the game for Kevin. Kyle will draw an assist, as will Tyler Barone. And the Gauchos lead it 6-3 with the end of the racetrack in sight. Can't let up here, though. as the Broncos continue to battle along the boards in the attack end. Perez went down awkwardly. Gauchos play it ahead, but not out. Park did well to hold in. Slisenko takes a shot, able to work it forward, but no further. Barone with it now. Slisenko ahead. It's touched and to the line, but not out. Driving up the far side, face-off circle. Burke muscled off the puck. Continued to dig away. Far corner, Valois. Park activates at the near side boards. Under a minute to go in the third period. The pass tipped off the stick of Tyler Barone. Angled back into the near corner. Slisenko retrieves. Some frustrated ponies getting off the ice for Santa Clara. Lawrence can't get it out. Park plays to the slot, intercepted, was trying to hit Mayorkas. On the carry-in, shot off the glove, score! Eric Evelhoch, his first of this season. And that is about the only goal that Nix has given up this weekend that he's going to want back.
Absolutely, just a misplay off the glove. Didn't quite get it up high enough or in the right spot. Just a fluke of a bounce as well to have it pop straight in the air. And when he reached back to grab it again, it just fluttered over the line. Valois appropriately celebrating it as though it was his first goal of the season. So good effort and a great reward for Valois considering the weekend he has had as well. It's been frustrating at times, it's been difficult, but he's had a wonderful game here this evening and a wonderful couple games back here in his return to the lineup.
7-3, 20 ticks from back to 500 for ice hockey at UCSB. Here's the question, Kyle. Who are you going to interview?
That's a good question. I'll have to see who I can grab when I run downstairs.
Might I suggest number 20? He may not have the most numbers on the stat sheet, but
that was kind of who I was thinking about.
Would be good to hear from the Gaucho grad student. Angled forward, late slap shot taken, save made by Nix. And the Gauchos defeat the Santa Clara Broncos, completing the sweep with a 7-3 victory. It tightened up some in that final frame with the Broncos able to get a goal on the power play from Philip Park, but the Gauchos see the result out. Their nerve never wavers. Stop 5 of 8 power plays on the game for Santa Clara, and the game sealed up by who else? The brothers Mooney. Barone figuring in it as well, as Kevin takes the cross slot feed and rifles it home, and Eric Evelhoch adds the additional exclamation point for ice hockey at UCSB, scoring his first goal of the season and joining Gaucho colorman Kyle Nicolas on the sheet now. Let's hear from Mr.
Thanks,
Evelhoch.
Eric. Down here with the last goal scorer of the game, Gaucho defenseman Eric Evelhoch. Eric, you guys have got to be very satisfied with the team defensive effort here, knowing that Santa Clara did not score an even strength goal this entire weekend. Every single one of the goals they scored came on the power play, several of them with two-man advantages. How'd you feel about the team effort this weekend?
I think it was huge. I mean, I think a big part of it was our forwards back checking hard and our defense closing the gap. You know, we worked on gap control in practice and it showed out there. On top of that, we had Nora behind us, saving everything, smothering rebounds, and everything was, all around top to bottom defensive effort. So it's nice to have a team playing.
Absolutely, and coming up with the 2 big wins after that big, long 4-game skid has to be wonderful for your guys' mentality. What's this going to do knowing that you guys are going to be playing a familiar opponent next week in another back-to-back series in Santa Rosa? How does this help you guys really kind of get back into the swing of things? You guys are back to 500 now, knowing that that's who you're going to be facing next weekend.
You know, Santa Rosa is a tough opponent, but I think that we did good things here today, and if we build on what we did today and yesterday, I think we won't have any problems with Santa Rosa. We know we can beat them. We've done it twice. We'll do it twice again.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I would love to take a class from Mr. Valois, although I know for a fact everything he was trying to teach me would be over my head, spoken like a true professor in breaking down this weekend's performance from ice hockey at UCSB. Gap control, the word he used as the point of emphasis from head coach Scott Hires and assistants Steve Hines and Ben Brecker. The Gauchos able to do that and do not surrender, a score at even strength on the weekend. A dramatic 3-2 overtime victory last night, a convincing 7-3 win tonight as the Gauchos improve to 4-4-0 on the season. Santa Clara heads back north with a 2-3-2 record. Strong showing from Santa Clara and really impressive from them, Kyle Nicolas, in the final half or so of this game, taking things to the Gauchos. Maybe UCSB being guilty of sitting back a bit and defending the lead, but they were able to do that in every aspect of the game, save for 3 of the 8 power play opportunities that the Broncos got.
Gauchos very good as 5-on-5 unit this weekend, playing solid team defense, as I talked about with Eric Evelhoch downstairs just now. I think they're going to be very happy with the effort this weekend in terms of that. Really a good momentum and mentality resetting weekend, getting some good results, getting some victories to take into the next weekend series.
And of course, as you mentioned, Kyle, it's against a familiar opponent, and with the testiness that we saw in this 2-game series, you know that that's something that the Santa Rosa Junior College Polar Bears are going to be bringing to the sheet here at Ice in Paradise.
They are definitely no strangers to playing the overly physical, hard-nosed, heavy style of hockey that we saw them play earlier. The Gauchos handled it very well in the first 2 meetings, but again, when you meet a team for the first time, it's a lot different when you meet them for the second time, knowing that they've had a chance to gel as a team. They've had a chance to work out their systems a little bit more, iron out some of the bugs that have been in their game. So for UCSB, I would expect a very stiff test here this next upcoming weekend.
Time now to figure out our 3 stars of the game. 3-star selection brought to you by the Ice Hockey at UCSB Social Networking Suite. Get social with your Gauchos by liking on Facebook at Ice Hockey UCSB. Follow at UCSB Ice Hockey on Twitter, Instagram, UCSB Ice Hockey, and a special hello to those of you listening to the audio-only broadcast on MixLR at mixlr.com/icehockeyUCSB. Well, Kyle, this is a bit of a tough game, I think, to determine 3 stars because there were so many players that figured in to the result for the Gauchos.
It definitely is going to be one that I'm going to have to think about here for a second, but I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just give the 3rd star to the combination once again of Kevin and Kyle Mooney. Just exactly how we expect them to at this point, controlling the game on nearly every front, playing great defense, playing great offense, scoring goals, generating chances, and just being so difficult for the Santa Clara defense to have to handle all weekend long, including here this evening. And I believe both of them also had a goal here. I know at least Kevin did. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Kyle had one as well. So great weekend series for the both of them. Great game here tonight.
I like the brothers sharing the star in the 3 spot, but their moment was really last night.
They definitely played or have a much bigger impact here last night. Tonight was much more about the depth for UCSB.
And this is where I'm going to go with the depth players that really stepped to the forefront for the Gauchos. How about for the 3rd star, you give the nod to the man scoring his first goal of the season assisting on another, defenseman Andrew Vieira. Vieira scoring the kind of goal that the Gauchos wanted to see in the game, but as a defenseman, you don't generally see getting to the side of the net, jamming home the rebound, and giving the Gauchos, at the time, the early lead in the game. Remember, that was after Kevin had deflected Kyle's shot home 24 seconds after Santa Clara opened the scoring, and to get the second goal of the game, much in the manner that the Gauchos did, off the stick of a defenseman, scoring the goal, having a point on another. Andrew Vieira, a well-deserved third-star selection tonight.
The Scott Niedermeyer-esque jump to the front of the goal to really just bang away at a rebound. You don't see a whole lot of defensemen really on any level that are willing to do that. Andrew Vieira using that skating ability he has. Incidentally, also something worthy of note, Vieira is also a member of the roller hockey team here, so you could probably see it a little bit with his stick handling, but also his willingness to jump to the front of the net. They do that all the time in roller hockey.
Kyle, your second star.
My second star of the night is going to go to goaltender Nora Penn. Not super busy here this evening, but as Eric Evelhoch said in the interview, solid, smothered a lot of the opportunities that came her way. After letting in that one goal that came off the rebound, she seemed to really refocus on making sure she grabbed everything that came her way and spat out as few rebounds as she possibly could. She had a solid performance all season long, all weekend long, I should say. Definitely all season as well, but definitely a solid performance all weekend long. And really, this is the first time I think we can say in back-to-back games there hasn't really been that deflating Groner-style goal that we've seen on more than one instance that's gotten through her. Definitely just maybe a symptom of having to adapt to the new level of hockey she's currently playing here right now. Solid performance, showing signs of improvement every time she jumps on the ice. I'm giving Nora my second star of the night.
I love the decision to bring up Nora in that second star spot. As you mentioned, Kyle, a strong weekend performance for her, and she really needed it coming back home on the sheet after losing to Chapman University in a game where, frankly, I think the 7-4 result was maybe a little bit unfair and non-indicative of how the way that the two teams played against each other.
There was also an empty net in that game.
Right, so 6 goals that she allows in that game for the Gauchos. However, my second star is going to go to another lower line hero. Again, thinking about how the coaching staff sort of laughs at that concept, considering they roll 4 lines and they switch things up as they seem to be necessary. But how about the performance from Tyler Barone tonight? You can see why he has that A on his chest. He ends up playing a critical role, assisting on a few goals for the Gauchos. And who was it that ice hockey at UCSB was throwing out over the boards for the majority of the final 5 minutes of that contest? Number 17 in white, Tyler Barone, I think, star number 2 on the evening for the Gauchos.
Definitely well-deserved. Barone had a very good performance here this evening. And as you say, he's become very adept at playing really up and down the lineup wherever the coaching staff has needed him to. And it's great to see him get rewarded both on the point sheet and with wins here as part of the team here for ice hockey at UCSB. My number 1 star of the game is going to go to the Bracebridge, Ontario native Christian Ockpish, who had a wonderful game here this evening. It doesn't really matter what the coaching staff requires him to do. It seems like he does it, and he does it well, whether it's offense, defense, penalty kill, power play, front of the net, ripping shots from the point. He's good at it. He's a solid player fundamentally all the way through his skill set, and he has been spectacular for ice hockey at UCSB since he came back from that suspension.
Scores the power play goal in the second period to extend the Gaucho lead up to 5-1. Greg Hyman, incidentally, ends up with the game-winning goal in this game. But Kyle, I love that selection of Ockpish. I will co-sign for it. Scores the power play goal, as mentioned, to really give the Gauchos some breathing room and force Santa Clara to chase in the game. He also has a helper on another. A well-deserved first-star performance from a player that opened the season with 3 assists in his first game against Santa Rosa Junior College, and you know, if it's 4 games that you're not allowed to play, sometimes a little bit of rust can settle into your game. And for Akpish, it's been no way. He has
anything but.
He has taken like a proverbial duck to water in coming back, moving from a defense role to a 4th-line center role, and really helping give the Gauchos a solid presence on the power play, as well as getting things gritty when thrown out there over the boards with Dominic Calcio and Michael Herlihy.
Absolutely. So great performance from Christian Akpish. And I think probably the most impressive part of his game is the fact that he's been so consistent in his performances since returning from that suspension as well. So we look forward to seeing what he can do with the games coming up next weekend and through the rest of the season. The Gauchos are extremely fortunate to have a player with his caliber and his utility on their roster.
3 stars brought to you by the Gaucho social media platforms, Facebook.com/IceHockeyUCSB, Twitter @UCSB Ice Hockey, Instagram UCSB Ice Hockey, and MixLR.com/IceHockeyUCSB. Well, Kyle, I'm sure that this adult league side is going to want to have us be quiet for their contest.
Oh, I'm sure they'd probably love us to call the game, but unfortunately, I don't think that they have the resources to let us do that.
Well, and they also haven't given us a roster, which incidentally,
a little bit harder.
Incidentally, apologize to those listeners from the Santa Clara region for some of the misidentification of the players in the first game. Did not have a correct roster available, as there was not one on the ACHA site or as well on scuhockey.com, the official website of the Broncos, but able to get that here for game 2 and able to bring what was an incredibly entertaining Gaucho game and 2nd straight victory to bring the team back to 500. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Ice Hockey at UCSB's home, the Snyder Rink, here at Ice in Paradise. We remind you that the next time the Gauchos will be on air is Saturday, November the 12th, 4:30, scheduled clearing of the ice. Look for the broadcast to begin around 4:45. We will be on the air with you, both with live video coverage as well as audio-only coverage via MixLR. That, a 2-game set against Santa Rosa, Saturday and Sunday. Both of those 4:30 starts. The Gauchos look to do as they did when they first faced them, winning 7-6 and then 11-4. Well, we remind you that Center Ice Santa Barbara is a proud supporter of ice hockey at UCSB, located at 7127 Hollister Avenue, Suite 8 in Goleta. Call 805-770-7970 or visit them on the web at centericesb.com. Center spelled the Christian Akpish way, CENTRE. And reminder, if you want to help support these young men and women of the Ice Hockey at UCSB student organization, get in contact with staff advisor Susan Goodale. Send her an email at susan.goodale@ucsb.edu or call 805-893-3530. For our technical director, Jesse Gutierrez, and for our camera operator, Alina Portillo. That's right, the two showing versatility, trading off on the job. It's been a pleasure, as always, to trade words with my color commentator, Kyle Nicolas. The Gauchos now on a 2-game winning streak and back to 500 on the season, winning on Saturday by a 3-2 overtime final and taking today's contest 7-3 to complete the sweep of the Santa Clara University Broncos. That's going to do it for us here in Ice in Paradise. Thanks for listening. Have a splendid Sunday. My name's Eric Evelhoch, and good night from Goleta.